Like you want to get somebody elected, all of the above. It is the answer. The ability to post-produce for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, your podcast, your vlog, your text messaging platform that you're gonna have, TikTok, the ability to understand how a picture or a video or a written sentence works different on every one of those 9 platforms is the unlock. It is why I have super strengths right now in the marketplace. That is my deep religion. I do not use a platform to post a photo to all the platforms because I understand that they have to be unique within the environment they're delivered. I can't make an All Blacks reference in New York. They don't know what the fuck rugby is. In the same way of me making a subtle baseball reference here is not gonna play. Context matters. And so many people just wanna check the box of putting out content. They don't understand that the reason I'm winning across every platform is because of the context, not the content. That I understand that you, the same person, when you go on LinkedIn is different than that person an hour later on Instagram because your mindset's different. Sliding into the DMs is different than getting a job. You understand? I believe that that ability and your ability to be self-aware of what kind of communicator are you? Are you comfortable in front of a camera? Many are not. Can you write? I cannot, which is why 2002 to 2006 was the biggest blank part of my career because that was the era of blogging. And I couldn't afford to pay writers, and I can't write for shit. To this day, my poor English teachers cannot believe I have 5 New York Times best-selling books. And so that self-awareness and ability to produce content that's post-produced to the places where people are paying attention is what's been going on for 100 years, right? The best writers, when newspapers dominated, were important voices. The person that had gift for gab on the radio in the 30s and 40s and could hold an audience, she or he, right? The best. Muhammad Ali understood television. That's why you know him. And so the individuals that understand how to storytell, where other humans are at that moment in history, have consistently outperformed the rest. Where I get frustrated and where I implore you to understand is unlike the last hundreds and hundreds of years, Muhammad Ali was the gatekeeper of who was allowed to talk to the world, the person that owned the network, the producer, right? Today, we don't have that. In the same way that the best rapper in the world can now just upload to SoundCloud and Spotify and win because a record label doesn't have to sign her, you can do the same on these platforms. This is free. These platforms cost nothing to distribute on. There's some level of cost in making, but at first, like I did for the first 9 years, I produced myself. My words, my videos. And so I am frustrated / excited to push this evening to get you to produce. And there's only 2 things. It's either in your head because you're insecure, or you talk a big game and you're lazy as fuck.
Or
you have to make enough debating, enough overthinking. I have so many answers, not because I was smart, it's because I made millions of pieces of content and watched what worked. I have a thought, I make. It does well, great. It does terrible, even better.
He's so cool.
That is my framework. That is what will work for every single person from that corner to that corner. It's what's working for every brand and business, period, and the story.
Oh, man.
And that's it. That's what I'm trying to get you to do. So,
yes,
as I segue to Q&A, here's why I did that and what we can do in Q&A. Why I did that is macro, micro is my world. This is why are you not doing it, and then I'll tell you how to do it, right?
Oh.
That's it. Why and how. If the people are about to line up right now want to ask me about managing people, I have 1,000 employees, I've done it my whole life, happy to answer. If you want to talk about where to invest your money, I've done a good job with it, happy to answer it. If you want to ask anything about anything, influencer marketing, Amazon arbitrage, blockchain, augmented reality, message bots, I'm here. I'm happy to answer it. But they are all secondary to what I spent my first 10, 15, 20 minutes on. If you are not making content for the internet, you're making a humongous mistake. If you are not, thanks mom. If you are not, thank you. And let me tell you why, because you're gonna regret it. Let me promise you one thing that I enjoy. In my goodness, I do have my own little weird things. I love taking this video, running it in 4 years on whatever the Instagram is of the day to people in New Zealand, and I'm gonna look at you right in the camera because you're gonna see it, because I'm gonna know what I'm doing, and I'm gonna say, you fucked up. I came in 2019 and I told you what to do, and now LinkedIn and TikTok are too big, it's too loud, it's not working the same way, and why didn't you do it? I do that every day. I live it every day now. So I know I'm gonna live it again. So please, either debate with yourself or line up and ask a question now that unlocks why you're not making, because making, not meetings, making, not reading, making, not coming to a Gary Vee fucking conference, making is gonna unlock your shit. Not watching my content and thinking you're doing something, actually doing something.
I'm doing something.
Yeah, thank you. Line up, let's go. Let's do it. So how many mics do we have? This one? Those, just the two in the middle? Great. I have no idea why this is not being filled up, but I highly recommend you fill it up. Oh, you've got them over there? Understood. Okay, I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Hi Gary, thanks so much for being here today. My question is about how do you act from your true self and from a place of love and wanting to connect with people, but then take no bullshit when they give you bullshit?
Well, first of all, a lot of people aren't actually giving, they're manipulating. So first I have to understand if you're manipulating or if you're actually giving. Let me explain. Because giving is actually giving without expectation. So when you give, the person's reactions have no weight. What most people are doing is they're fake.
Gauging the room. Yeah.
They're doing something with an expectation of something in return. So to answer your question, first you need to audit, are you actually giving or are you setting up something that you're looking for? And if you're actually giving, when they give you too much bullshit, if you're purely giving and you're being taken advantage of, stop giving to that person. Okay. There's 7 other billion people to give to.
Yeah.
I mean it, it's really important to me.
Yeah.
Like, I see a lot of my own employees, friends, startups I'm an investor in, contemporaries, acquaintances, former employees, they think they're giving, they're not giving. You understand?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Hi.
Hi Gary, my name's Patricia and we actually came to this event last week in Sydney, so thank you so much for allowing us to get up and ask questions.
Thank you.
We're based in Queenstown and we have an accommodation business.
Okay.
It's grown very organically and we've taken 12 months to sort of figure out whether or not we want to go large with it.
Okay.
We've got some good numbers now around what our demographics look like.
Okay.
And we need to really kick off a good marketing strategy, but a big chunk of our demographic are the Asian markets.
Asia.
So what would your recommendation be?
Are you talking China or
China specifically?
So WeChat?
Yep.
Weibo?
But marketing online, talking about videos and whatnot on Instagram, what's the best strategy for that when it's a foreign language?
Transcribing it.
Right. So just literally, instead of having a video, just...
I know, it's really interesting. Like, I know we're getting giggles, but like what's super crazy is so much of this is very common sense and simple. It's that something happened where I just don't fear the thought of wasting time or money and everybody else does. People are either insecure and or have a fear of wasting time or money, which makes sense to me. I understand it. It's just the answer's in reverse. You need to go to KOLs, right? Key opinion leaders,
Yeah.
influencers in China, pay them to give awareness to your business. You need to make content and transcribe it into Mandarin and run it on WeChat and Weibo.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hi.
Hi. Firstly, huge fan, and I was in Brisbane last Thursday. It
Thank
really
you.
inspired me. And I watched Elise Grace, you might remember her, she spoke to you. And I went home and I was like, damn, why wasn't I that girl? So I booked flights on Sunday and flew over here yesterday just to see you and ask you 2 questions.
Amazing, thank you. I feel like the Grateful Dead. Everyone's touring with me.
Firstly, I coach people and I step up, but I wasn't stepping up enough. And I've been going to start this podcast forever. So I actually started my podcast, went live last night.
Good for you.
Yeah. And it's called 3 Wines In. Everybody goes with my book, which is out soon. But my next question, I'm sure you know what it's going to be. Can I interview you on my podcast?
No,
Oh, no.
but I'll make you a promise.
Yeah,
You get to 100 episodes, and I'll do episode 101.
thank you. I have one more. One more?
What's that?
Can I get a selfie?
Selfie? Yes, you can. Come on. What's up, brother?
Tēnā koe. Hi, I'm Rapaya.
Hi, Rahaya.
My question is, I'm a bit unclear on what is business and entrepreneurship. Like, I'm a bit confused with what is it about. Like, is there any rules to play on?
Well, yeah, don't be a dick.
Got it.
But it's, entrepreneurship and business is predicated on providing a service or a product in exchange for money.
So is don't be a dick the only rule?
To me, there's one other very important rule. Make more money than you lose. Because then you get to keep playing. But I mean, where are you going with the question? Help me here. Because it's such a lofty, floaty, basic question. So there
Yeah.
must be something behind that.
Well, because everyone is fluttering around with all these industries, and when I listen to other people with their expertise, it's different things, but when I listen to you, it's the same thing. I see a story on Instagram, the same thing as when I listen to you,
Yeah, you're the only
As
one
a-
who was listening to.
infomercial on a milk bottle in the 1800s.
Okay.
It's the same thing. So I want to get, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, when it comes to bodybuilding, he's big on building that foundation.
Yes.
So I don't want to be all flashy. I want to have this really still smooth growth on things.
So I think now I understand. So the number one thing that you need to do is just do that.
Oh, well.
My biggest fear is that people try to be like me,
Yeah.
and the only thing I want them to be like me is actually being themselves, right? Like, for example, I'll be very frank with you. I struggle at some level with the fact that my personality is so loud and hyper and high energy because
the
what I
opposite.
believe in, I always say to people, I'm a tortoise in a hare's costume. I'm very slow. I'm very patient. I'm meticulous. Yet my energy is frantic, and thus people think it's fast. But that's me, and I'm fine with that too. And so I don't try to forcefully tone down. You just need to be yourself.
I will.
But another thing that I'm very proud of that I think will work for you. I have never sold anything in my life. Not
Yeah.
baseball cards, not wine, not VaynerMedia, that I didn't 100,000% believe in. And I believe the majority of this room sells something they don't believe in.
Yeah.
They just want the money.
Yeah. I want to for my people, Māori or throughout Polynesia, to be better, because I was thinking of all these suppression things as a child, and I think now, in my mind, I had this thought that now the suppression thing that everyone talks about is now a mental cage of
Yep.
it. So I want to, as humans, to expand instead of have a cap.
I understand. Me
And
too.
that's what I like to do.
Do it. You got
Hey Gary, how are you, buddy?
you?
So, a wee question for you. So,
Gary, I'm really thirsty, man. Like, do you reckon I should drink some water? That's a good idea. Do it. Yay! Mentioned in a comment. Cheers. Yeah, I can actually read the text now. Been having a bit of trouble.
I'm a very passionate dad.
Good.
And I feel like dad-deprived kids are really more susceptible to failing academically, socially. They're more likely to go down crime and commit suicide.
Okay.
So I'm an educator here in New Zealand.
Yep.
I've been educating for 15 years, and I've known 10 kids that have taken their life at my own school.
Yes.
So my question to you is, what's the most important thing a dad can do to help his kids live a life of purpose and meaning?
Listen. The biggest mistake that dads and moms make is they don't listen. They try to impose. The number one thing a dad can do is pay attention to who their child is, not impose who they wish they were.
Beautiful.
I have no interest in my children being entrepreneurs. I have no interest in them being like me. I have interest in them being who they are and supporting the living shit out of that, while making sure I instill kindness and empathy and gratitude and thematics that I know are very important. But for all the passion I have of entrepreneurship, the only thing I'm actually passionate about is self-awareness and for people to do what they should be doing.
Wow.
And parents are parenting their children predicated on other parents' opinion or the judgment of other parents, not based on who their kids actually are. Parents would rather have a bumper sticker on the back of their car of a fancy school and an unhappy child than a happy child. It's fucked up.
Absolutely. Thanks, brother.
You got it.
Hey, Gary.
How are you?
Good. Glad you finally got to come back to your favorite country. 2 questions. How do you constantly love the process? Because the process isn't always fun. So what are some ways?
It's fun for me.
Okay, so what are some advice
Find
that you could
one
give
that
to
is
make
fun
it
for you.
Okay, easy peasy, eh?
It's that easy, there are people in the world who genuinely love what they do, whether that's being a stay-at-home dad, whether that's being a painter, a chef. Right now, the danger of entrepreneurship is it's so predicated on fucking money that people are doing shit that they don't like. You have to understand, my days off, I go garage sailing and buying shit for $1 and selling it for $2. Right? Like, I'm on flights from America to Australia for this trip, and I'm staying up for 9 hours looking on eBay trying to buy Messi and Ronaldo rookie cards. Business, buying and selling, is my hobby. I don't want to fucking golf. So it's about finding a process you actually enjoy that may not map to the thing that makes you the most money. I promise you, at 99 years old, living 90 plus years of happiness versus wealth creation always works out.
Right.
Literally, he's just saying.
And another
everything
quick question.
I've
You've
said.
probably been asked this a million times. Can I run up on stage, grab a quick selfie with you, facing back? Is that all good?
No.
No?
But you can
Okay.
come up here and I'll take a selfie with you because I just want to be efficient.
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Go ahead, mate.
Hi, Gary. How's it going?
Good.
The question for you is, what's the biggest way to motivate clients or businesses that don't want to change?
By speaking your truth and then
don't
actually
do it.
not trying to convince them.
Yeah.
By moving on to ones that are further along.
Perfect.
I have spent no time through the years with VaynerMedia, which was selling something nobody understood in 2009. I spend no time convincing people.
Yes.
That's the biggest mistake that businesses that do B2B business make on sales. They spend fucking years trying to convince the unconvincible.
Yes.
This is a very important breakthrough for you if you listen to me. There are literally meetings I have sometimes that are scheduled for an hour that's a new business pitch that I wrap up in 15 minutes cordially and leave because I can sense it's over before it started.
Gotcha.
It's the one. It's a very, very important answer to that question.
Thank you so much.
You're
Can
welcome.
also take a selfie with you if that's
Yes.
all right.
Hi,
Poor man.
Hi Gary, how are you?
I'm super well.
Good. Gary, I'm a long time fan. So I'm
Thank you.
51 now, so I'm
Thank
probably
you.
the oldest in the room. I've been
Gary,
following
I'm the
your
longest
advice,
time fan.
totally, and doing the content and building the business, and I'm very patient. So where to from here?
So where are you at?
I'm doing really well. I'm doing the content, and I'm really getting on with the social media and doing everything that you've asked me to. I just want to know what's your advice for the next few years.
Fuckload more.
Fuckload.
You know,
Okay.
honestly, play with me here. How many pieces of content are you putting out a day? Don't bullshit me.
No, I'm
25.
not bullshitting you.
Okay.
I'm running multiple pages.
I believe you, I
so
believe you. How
on my
many?
biggest page, probably 15 pieces a day.
Great.
Yeah.
30.
Okay.
I'll tell you a place where a lot of you can get a lot of pay dirt. Twitter. I'm really fascinated by Twitter, and I looked at the metrics of what's going on in this country with Twitter. It doesn't have to be the biggest platform for you to get the most value. You can post, a lot of you have ideas, thoughts, hypothesis, you know, curiosities. Posting content on Twitter in written form with a default GIF that Twitter has where you don't even have to make design is an incredible way to say something and see if there's something there. That would be a way to get from 15 to 30 in a much easier way. That's strategic, that helps you get insights, not just make content.
Perfect. Thanks, Gary. And big shout out to D-Rock. And while I'm here, can I get my content creators on to get a photo of me with you?
You can.
Thank you.
Where is he? There he is. Go ahead. Go ahead, mate. I'm ready for you, bro.
Hey Gary, my name's Amani Alofa. I do competitive gaming events for the community.
Love it.
I think, did I mention Arena Grounds? I don't know.
What's that?
Anyways,
Go ahead.
yeah, okay, anyways. I've got a few questions for you. I was just wondering, I just wanted to congratulate you on the Minnesota spot in the Call of Duty World
Thank
League.
you.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Also wanted to see if you could touch base on your decision making around committing to the competitive gaming scene.
I think esports is going to be one of the 3 biggest sports in the world in 20 years.
Marvelous.
Well,
I was wondering if you could also,
guess what, Gary?
yeah.
I'm very good at that.
I was wondering if you could also give a few words to the parents and the young youth to try and validate their choice to compete.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, I'm part of the generation where parents, much like they're doing to iPads and social media and phones now, demonized the shit out of video games, and every kid that was on it was wasting their time. And meanwhile, if those kids stayed the course, they would be making tens, hundreds, or millions of dollars at events today and be
100%.
legends in esports. I think parents are very bad at a lot of things. And I think one of the things they really struggle with is anticipating where the world's gonna be when their child is actually a grown-up. They parent based on the past instead of the future. And to suppress it, now when you have Booga winning $3 million at a Fortnite tournament, how is a parent walking around Earth right now not realizing at least giving their child a chance to show that they're great at video games is no different than them showing that they're great at rugby or proper soccer or golf. Like I don't understand. The only thing I understand is that parent's mother or father or brother or sister or other parents are shitting on them for the amount of time they let their kid play video games, and it is something that I want to put pressure on because it is a fundamental mistake. Not every kid is going to become a fucking gaming superstar, but showing your children that you support their interests is a very important forever win.
Thank you for that. Could I just ask 2 more things? Sorry.
You're getting a little greedy, big guy.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Go fast.
Oh man, I forgot now.
All right.
Oh no, could I mention my gaming event that's coming on the 30th of August?
I'm sorry?
Could I mention my gaming event that's coming on the 30th of August?
You want to
slow,
pitch in
bro.
this room right now?
Yeah.
Too slow.
You think
Yeah.
that's a good idea?
I don't know.
Well, I'm asking you a question. The answer is yes or no.
I mean, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
That means
might as
you
well
think
seize it.
so. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. So on the 30th of August, we're going to be doing a event called Game Haven. It's mainly to focus around connecting the community and also, kind of encourage good community culture, healthy, interactions online and whatnot. So if you guys want to drop by on the 30th of August at the Tier 2 Peninsula Community Center, that'd be awesome. Thanks.
Yo, what's up, Gary?
How are
doing,
you?
Man? I'm good. Quite brief. I want to document, not create.
Not create.
Yeah, that's the one. The thing is, I've got so many things I want to talk about, man. How wide or narrow do I go with my focus to
As
keep it
wide as
interesting?
humanly possible.
Yeah, and why would that be?
Because it's better.
Bigger net, more fish.
Okay. All right.
Because the reality is you have no idea what anybody wants to hear from you yet.
Yeah.
So what are you going to arbitrarily pick? There's literally no downside.
Yeah.
That's why.
And would you give it amount of time before you know if something's working or not?
Yes.
How long?
Straight
Years.
away.
So a handful of things at once. Okay. Maybe wider.
The
even.
number one advantage you have is the potpourri of your different interests.
It's interesting. I like it.
You know, the fact that I garage sale, sports cards, wine, business, that's what makes me different. And some people don't want that content, and I'm sure when somebody goes through my Instagram and sees this is a post around garage sailing, and they're there for social media tactics, they just skip through it. I'm not charging them. It only cost them 100th of a fucking second.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Good.
Thanks, man.
You got it.
Hey Gary, how you doing, man?
Super well, brother.
So I got a simple question, kind of.
Okay.
I've been doing business with my dad for the last 2 years.
Okay.
But because of a couple of shady deals and some false promises, we've unfortunately had to liquidate one of our businesses recently.
Okay.
So this has caused me to fucking hate business.
Okay.
Because of all the sharks and the shady things that happen in the business world.
Well,
So-
maybe you should hate the judgment calls that you and your dad made, not business.
Yeah. So my second question for you is, how do you develop the mindset to kind of...
By becoming accountable for the fuck-ups you guys made. You understand?
He doesn't.
So,
He literally doesn't.
so just to give a bit of context, the fuck up that we made, I know the fuck up that we made, is that a gentleman came to us from a big company, said, yeah, we're going to give you a contract, we're going to give you a contract, we're going to give you a contract. We saw the contract, but it never got delivered.
Happens.
Yeah, fair enough.
You shouldn't have listened.
Fair enough.
You made a bad decision to believe. People need to be accountable. You know, like, I've had a really hard time getting ripped off. That's a skill set. But it's okay, because here's what's amazing. You're young as fuck. So now my intuition says, you may not make that same kind of mistake the next time. Or not put yourself in I make mistakes all the time. They just won't put me out of business. Every time somebody comes to me lately, a lot of young, I for some reason went on this run of like 10 kids in like a month coming up to me at airports saying they got ripped off. And without knowing a thing, different than your scenario, I looked at them and I said, because you wanted too much money fast. You know, people get ripped off when they try to make something happen too fast. A lot of times. That might not be the scenario here, but I think you're smart enough to realize 4 sharks, 9 sharks, sounds like one big shark, is not an indication to everybody else. You know? I just think everything's my fault, even when somebody steals from me.
Yeah.
It makes me real happy.
Which
I mean
is-
it.
you
I understand
fucking
how
put
that's,
yourself in a position.
you know, it's my truth. It's how I think. I didn't need to employ that
It is
person.
how it
I
is.
didn't need to let them into my office. I think when you go fully in on accountability, the world gets really happy.
Yeah.
When you think it's everybody else's fault and you don't have control, that's where people get upset.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tēnā koe te manawa titi, e te manawa piharau.
How are you?
Tēnei re te reo karanga, te reo aroha o te tangata whenua. Anō reira nau mai hoki mai ko tēnei whenua o tātou. So kia ora Gary, my name's Rani, re me and my brother were the ones who done the haka for you.
I remember last year very, very, very well. Very well.
I know there's 2 things that come which it's about content and storytelling.
Yep.
So I just want to tell a quick story about what I said to you in Māori. Te manawa titi is a bird that flies against the wind. Te manawa piharau is a fish that swims up the current. And that's one of the highest acknowledgements that I was taught from a mentor of mine, and I've never actually said that to someone, so that's one of the highest acknowledgements in Te Ao Māori, and I just needed to say that to you, brother. So, Gaza, no mai haere mai, bro. But, bro, my... So, my question for you, Gary, I've been listening to you religiously for a little while, and pumping out content has definitely added a lot of value to my journey, and the more that I'm sharing, the more attention I am getting. But I think for myself, and like 3 years ago, I wouldn't be in this position because of lifestyle choices.
Yep.
But I think my question for you is, how do you deal with, because I'm about to achieve the biggest thing that I've set out to achieve, and I'm just getting a little bit overwhelmed. How do you deal with that big sense of scaling?
With gratitude.
Got that shit tattooed on my fingers, dog.
Then it sounds like this should be easy as shit for you, bro.
But it's hard.
You know, look. I think that taking a step back and understanding when you achieve something that you've set out to that's big can be overwhelming, and I understand that. But when you take it with humility and gratitude, and you recognize that you put in the work and you did the right behaviors to get there, and now what I would do is not smell those roses, don't get high on your own supply, and set bigger fucking goals.
Yeah, let's go.
I love you, Gary, man. This is so crazy. You have my life's respect. I
Thank
just wanted you to know that. I know you talk a lot about college debt.
Yes.
But here in New Zealand, our first year of university is free.
I heard.
With that, would you encourage more young people to try uni, or are their pursuit of business or in creative fields more important to delve into as soon as possible?
It comes down to self-awareness. For a ton of kids, that first year in uni is exactly right. And for other kids, it's right for them to go and do their creative journey, go travel to America, start a side hustle. The biggest thing I'm worried about when I talk about my real disdain for the American school system is that means you have to be the alternative is you have to be an entrepreneur. It's just not true. I think a lot of people should go work and not collect debt and have a head start, because American colleges with all the debt they have don't mean jobs anymore like they did in the 70s. When you have something for free, just because it's free doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
You know, and so it seems right, but it could be a complete waste of a year. And when you go into a system that you shouldn't be a part of, and you see people that are part of a system and it is right for them, it actually often leads to a lot of insecurity. You know, people start asking, why is everybody else here at uni having a great time? And I hate it, which gets them into a dark path. So I think it's a self-awareness game, and I think the most important thing, and as I look at young people, I always try to remind them, by the way, not only young people, old people, me, 40, 50, 80, 90, like, we struggle with contextualizing time. Life is fucking long. Like, as much passion as I have for 20-year-olds, I have way more passion for 50 and 60-year-olds, because they're thinking about wrapping it up, and they're not even halfway home. The fuck are you, who here is between 50 and 60? Like, you know, we grew up in generations where that was like, you know, up there. Like, but meanwhile, you fuckers are gonna live for another 30, 40, 50 years. The fuck are we wrapping up? We're at fucking halftime. I mean that. And we need to think that way. Everybody's winding it down, playing defense, wrapping it up. Let's go on triple offense. You're in the prime now. You know what not to do. And you've got half your fucking life in front of you. So your 1 year of going entrepreneur or going uni, or, you know, is not gonna mean shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the answer is right to all of it.
Yeah. I love you, Gary. Can I take a selfie?
You can.
Hi, Gary.
Hi.
Hi. I was wondering if you could offer an opinion about SEO and search engine optimization. Is it dead? Is it worth spending any money on it?
It's not dead, but it's mature, which means it's not a deal. Got it?
Yeah.
That's all. It's not super complicated. You know, if you have a great landing page that converts, if your website converts, like I would do SEO and SEM if I liked the numbers, I just know that Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn do better when you're good at it. That's where people get confused. There's a lot of people here who think Facebook ads suck, but it's because they're bad at it. Got it?
Yep.
So it's still okay. It's just that I want to make sure that you triple check, cross your T's and I's on the other stuff, especially LinkedIn. Sister, listen to me. Fucking LinkedIn. And I laugh, like sometimes I do these talks and I leave and I see on Twitter like, I wonder if Gary Vee's being paid by LinkedIn. Like, I've spent 20 years establishing I have one interest, to be historically correct. I don't give a fuck if LinkedIn dies tomorrow. I care about today, this second. I can't wait to make fun of social media in 10 years. I built my wine business on SEO. Got it? Hi.
Hi. So we're starting an eco-friendly brand at the moment.
Okay.
We're about to launch, and so we have limited money, obviously. It's costing a lot.
Yes.
And what would you recommend the first platform, or do we just cross all platforms a little bit?
Are you selling something?
Yeah, eco-friendly activewear.
TikTok and LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
And Instagram. Those three.
Okay.
Instagram is mature now with influencer marketing and content for brands. So if you were to do it 5 years ago, when I was screaming about that arbitrage, it would have been better. But now with limited dollars, here's why I'm pushing LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a platform right this second that you could have never posted on for your activewear, for your law firm, for whatever you do. And your first post gets organic reach that you don't deserve. Got it? That's why it's so powerful. TikTok, I think, is super interesting, but the content you make will probably have to be to get a 12-year-old girl to let her mom know about your brand. Okay. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So you have to be thoughtful. But my intuition is it's got a prayer to actually become Instagram.
Okay. Awesome.
And that's why it's worth investing, because if you make it through 24 months and you're there on the other side, and it does, and you started first, you can crush TikTok the same way that people crushed Instagram in 2013.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah, thank you. Can I get a photo?
Sure.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, Gary.
How are you?
Good. Happy to see you.
Thank you. I'm happy to see you too.
Yeah, awesome. My name is Thea, and my question is, what would you recommend for the young people who are figuring out their thing in life, who are also overwhelmed by the number of things they try and the number of information and courses they consume?
They need to play out the game of judgment. This is a game of judgment. It's not overwhelming if you didn't worry what anybody thought. Bless you.
Cool. Can I take a photo of you, with you as well?
Only if you sit with me on this question for a second.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Too excited.
There is no right answer. People struggle with decisions without realizing they would never know what the other outcome would be. I make decisions every day in 1 second because I know that I won't know the other thing. Let me give you an example. I famously passed on Uber twice in the angel round from one of my best friends. The worst financial decision I've ever made. I missed, if I wrote my normal check, and I was writing plenty of checks then, I would have $500 to $800 million in my bank right now, right? It doesn't even cross my mind as a loss, because where I go in my mind, because this is how real life works, is if I did write that check, over the last 5 or 6 years, my brand would be even bigger, more known for such a great phenomenon. I would have been on different places, invited to different places. And in one of those times, I might have had to go to China to give a speech, and while I was crossing the road, get hit by a bus and die. No, I mean this. I'm fascinated by people's inability to not understand this shit is not binary, right? You might have picked the wrong person to marry, but the other person might have gotten cancer, and that devastation might have put you in life's depression. Like, there's so many variables. I don't understand why people think like it's one way or the other. It's just, life is gray. This shit is not black and white. It's easy to make a decision with all these choices and information. Pick one.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You can have a selfie now. You got it. What's up, brother?
Hey, mate. Just wanted to say a huge thank you for coming. I listen to you every morning, so huge inspiration.
Appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
Got one big question.
Yeah.
So I know you're a big advocate for eating shit for a couple of years so you can have caviar for the rest of your life.
Yes.
But you're also a huge advocate for happiness over money.
Huge.
So my question for you is, as a 20-year-old, I'm pretty young, got my whole life in front of me.
Yeah.
Would you recommend picking progression or happiness?
Happiness. Happiness is progression.
Okay.
Got it? That's the confusion, brother. The question was confused. Happiness is the fucking progression. What progression? Title? An extra zero in your bank account? Buying dumb shit? Happiness is the fucking progression.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I grab a photo?
The happiest person in this room, the one that wakes up with the least pressure in their chest, is winning. Is winning. You know who's losing? The one who's so insecure that they're desperate to cheat, to make money, to buy shit, to impress people they don't even like. We need to change the fucking game. We need to change the conversation. Enough. Enough. Fuck.
Hey Gary.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Super well.
That's
Pleasure.
good. Okay, so I'm working on like 4 things right now.
Okay.
Like studying,
Okay.
a job to survive.
Yep.
Internship, which is starting next week.
Awesome.
And 2 business ideas currently working right on.
I love it.
And I'm just like, feel like I'm just starting up, and sometimes I find like really hard to manage all these things in like 24 hours.
Makes sense.
And would you give me some advice or tips
Yes.
how you manage your day, or how I can more manage my day?
Because I believe when you have 5 plates in the air, if 2 break, you still have 3.
Yeah.
You, clearly like me, like that game. Other people just want to have 1 plate and are petrified for something to break. So, laugh when a plate breaks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I take a quick selfie?
You can.
Kia ora, Gary. Firstly, I just want to say a huge thank you.
Thank you.
I have depression and PTSD, so cool things like that, and you truly have helped me.
Thank
come
you.
on, Michelle and everything. Like even doing this, I'm shaking. I'm sorry.
No, I'm flattered.
My name's Portia, like the car.
Yes.
I'm an 18-year-old business student currently. You helped me move out on Sunday. I moved out home for the first time into. Sunday I quit my job that wasn't making me happy. Monday I left home and now I'm here.
That's amazing.
It's been a very productive August.
Clearly.
Yeah. I can't believe this is real, to be honest.
This is real.
But I just would like to ask if you would ever consider dabbling in ASMR content.
I'm sorry?
Would you dabble in ASMR content?
ASMR?
Yeah.
Would I what?
I might dabble in it. Like, would you?
Would I dabble in it?
Yeah.
You know what? It's funny that you asked that. I've been looking at it, but I don't like talking about things I don't know. So the answer is I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But you catch me at an interesting time where I've been trying to, I've been thinking about chopping down my words into one tone. I've been thinking about it. You know, it's funny. I have slept with a sound machine my whole life. And dabbled in different things. The way I even listen to music, I think, is way more, that than the way normal people listen to music. So it's a curiosity, but it's not something I'm educated about, so I'm not ready to really answer you in a thoughtful way.
That's all good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hey Gary, how are you?
Very well, my friend. You?
Okay, I am good. I've been consuming your contents from last 7 years.
Wow, thank you.
Started my own business about 3 years ago.
Okay.
I did work for free, just like D-Rock did for you, and eventually started paying off.
Yep.
So thanks for that.
You're welcome.
I had no idea.
Real quick, I want to bring that up. It is fascinating to me how much the business world, specifically the creative field, likes to demonize free work. I respect it. I understand it. But when nobody's willing to pay you for your work is worth 0. And free work has been a foundation of my success my whole life. And there's a lot of supply in today's world. So good on you. I'm glad it worked for you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you understand as an immigrant in USA. I'm an immigrant here as well. I saw you talking about Facebook groups
Yes.
back in the days in one of your CNN interviews. So I started my group to connect with the community. It's called United Indians in New Zealand.
Love it.
It has gone up to 24,000 people now, all from New Zealand. Now my question is, how do I make a living out of it? Like, I want to make money, like enough with the charity now.
I think the number one so one of the toughest things is when you do something to convert an audience like that into monetization, you've now changed the relationship, right? It's like if you had a best friend for 7 years and now you decided you wanted to hook up with that person. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. My biggest recommendation if you're sitting on a Facebook group that is vibrant is to ask them. You should make a very honest video and basically say, I've been doing this, I've been building this, and it is my personal ambition to now turn this into a business. What can I do that would make all of you happy instead of doing what everybody else does and try to do something without you being a part of it? I have a funny feeling your answer is in one of those comments.
Okay. The last one is, I also started a drop shipping.
Okay.
I saw you talking about the drop shipping
Yep.
as well. Do you think it's dead now? Because
no,
it's still there.
It's not even started.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi Gary, how are
Hello.
you? Thank you for mentoring from last 2 years, 2017. You stuck with me, no more excuses.
I love it.
And stick with me right now. And from that day, I had only $20,000 in my account and $30,000 debt. And right now I have $40,000 in my account and $100,000 my business on my own.
Congratulations.
And I just want to know, what should I do how should I grow more? I'm only a 25-year-old.
I think you should invest in sports cards.
Sports card?
Yes.
Sure. Well, I'm on tennis right now anyway. Why not buy sports
I mean, look, I think I'm not kidding about the sports card thing. I think it's about to explode. B, I think you need to think about what got you there. A lot of time, great, but tactically, whatever got you from the financial place you were there to now, a lot of times people look for the next step, and the next step is just doing a lot more of what got them there in the first place.
Got it. Can I take a picture, please?
You can. How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Super well.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you again.
We had a little rant at South by Southwest in 2016.
Yes, I recall.
So I've been thinking about the voice distinction and kind of thinking, well, a little bit like the railroad coming into continents, and voice is maybe the new railroad.
Voice is definitely the next highway.
Yeah. So beyond a podcast, beyond Alexa, give me a watch, where do you see it going? Because I haven't heard too much.
Let's not downplay Alexa, give me a watch. Saying Alexa, give me a watch is like saying that an app on the iPhone in 2009 is just that. The amount of Alexa skills and Google skills and Apple skills, they will be the toll booths of our society in a decade. Let me remind you of, in the early days of iPhone apps, people spoke about them the same way we just talked about an Alexa skill.
Right.
Let me just remind everybody in this room, the following things are just iPhone apps: Facebook, Instagram, right? Uber, right? So the biggest companies in the world, in my opinion, in 10 or 15 years, have the potential to just be an Alexa skill on top of an Alexa device.
Right. So
Got it?
So you see that as the platform that is kind of.
I don't know who's going to win the home,
Yeah.
right? There could be a Chinese company. BMW may decide to make speakers and everybody goes there. But whoever penetrates the home with a device has an open platform for us to build on.
Right.
Whoever builds the most meaningful apps on that platform will build very, very, very uncomfortably large businesses. Because it is much faster to be in your kitchen in 2029 and say, Alexa, send me a pizza, than it is to find your phone, open up whatever version of Seamless you guys have here, find a pizza spot, hit 4 buttons. When you understand how addicted you will be to voice devices in a decade, you will think back to this talk and realize how fucking smart I am.
Second one. Just one more was,
yes.
My son finally likes listening to you in the car.
Thank God.
Because of the rookie cards. So do you think he and we can do it properly from New Zealand? You don't really need to be
I
there
haven't
buying
dug
it?
enough,
Yeah.
and I don't know what the secondary market here is.
Well,
You know, I don't know what the eBays or the Facebook Marketplace, I don't know where you flip digitally here.
Right.
I'm not educated, but I do think you can. I do, and I think there'll be niche markets, and I think there's a lot of ways to go with cards. It's really interesting to me that cardboard pictures on Pokemon or Magic the Gathering or soccer or football or what have you has a real upside. And it makes sense. When the whole world goes digital, there's human intuition to pull the other way, and I think that's got a lot to do with it.
Cool, thanks.
You got it.
Hey, what's up, Gary?
Hey, brother.
My question for you today would be, how do I make raw content look more appealing to people? And when I talk about raw content, I mean, I am passionate about talking about mental health and depression, and that only because I've overcome that stuff in my life. But I feel it's more my funny dance videos that draws a lot of the traction. But it's more I just want to encourage more like the younger people and the people who are going through those same life experiences.
Don't over worry about the likes.
Okay. Can I make it more appealing, or should I even worry about making it more appealing?
You can. I don't know if you have to worry about it. You may want that creative challenge. But the way you do that is by trying a bunch of different things. The problem is people are so caught up in short-term metrics, they intuitively know what works, and they keep doing more of that instead of doing what they want to do.
No, that's
You'll keep making those dance videos. The pretty guy or girl will keep putting out shirtless posts or booty shots instead of talking about what they want because they're so addicted to the short-term metric.
So just keep putting out more of that raw
Just
content.
keep putting it out.
Cheers.
Keep putting it, and raw content, or what you're talking about, is really the creativity's in the words and how you put them together. You're 1 3-sentence video away from changing the equation. You just have to keep doing it and deal with the ramifications of it not doing as well as your videos where you dance.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Thank you very
You got
much.
it, mate. I know it's been time's up, but I'm going to keep going since they're not coming. I also want to take a question or two from up there. I feel like you guys have been left out, so I got to figure out how to do that. Oh, you got a mic up there? Or are you just raising your hand? Go, talk, I'll repeat it.
Yell it. How do you choose which platform is good for your business?
How do you choose what platform is good for your business? So, let's just be very direct. You can see, you can if you got some fucking acrobatic shit or you want to just do it from there. What is your business? What's that? Lawn maintenance. So for me, I think Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn will probably work for you. And by the way, again, this is some of the themes today. And try Twitter, and maybe you make a funny video of you mowing lawn on the background of music, and all of a sudden it goes viral on TikTok, and all the dads of the kids that see it become aware of your business. Like to me, this is just one big game of make. I can give you advice. I could try to limit it. Here's my bigger thing. If you have a business that you want to be successful, my bigger question is auditing your time on what you're doing when you're not working or when you're with your family so that you can have more time to make across more platforms. Like people are like, oh, I have limited time. I'm like, okay, I understand there's family and all that, but if your ambition is to build a really nice sized business to be successful financially, I think we need to start auditing Netflix and Fortnite and Gary Vee videos. Cheers.
Hi, Gary Vee. I'm a lover of your content, and so is my sister. I have a question for
Please.
you. I have a business right now. I'm self-running. I run a caricature.
Please tell me it has to do with your hair.
Sort of.
Because it's fucking amazing.
Thank you. I run a caricature business, and right now it's going a bit too well, if you know what I mean.
I don't, but tell me.
It terrifies me because I have no competition currently, and I'm just worried about the clientele running out, or competition coming in, or a coming storm of any kind.
Let me give you one storm that you can't pay attention to. Competition.
Yep.
One of the great themes in this room, brother, that is hurting people is they spend more time worrying about their competition than they do about their employees or their customers. When I tell you I know nothing about my competition, I know nothing. Not a fucking clue. It doesn't matter. What a lot of people struggle with is knowing how much abundance there actually is. They fear that them losing something to somebody else is actually taking from them. They don't realize how much there actually is. We struggle with quantifying abundance. We struggle with quantifying time. And so please don't worry about competition. Somebody copying you is a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah. What about the other storms? Like, how do I cement my roots in the community, basically, or
by leaning in and providing them value?
Yeah.
You know, by understanding what they're looking for from you and delivering on that.
Okay.
You know, the reason I have a real community is because I'm delivering. I'm bringing more value. I'm giving you guys way more than I'm asking for in return, like way more. You know, and most people are fake giving because they want your money. I don't want your fucking money. I want your admiration.
Can I take a selfie?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey Gary, Cardone stole my voice, so bear with me. Hey,
No worries.
so at the moment I'm working full time and I'm also working a side hustle, a couple at the moment. But the one that's caught my most interest is freelancing film content for businesses.
Like it.
And my ultimate goal is to eventually run my own digital marketing company or agency.
Okay.
My question to you is, with a limited budget, is it tangible to scale this business to the #1 spot in New Zealand by outsourcing 100% of the content that I don't create for my clients?
Maybe, but unlikely.
So you'd say employees would be best?
You don't have enough control. And #1 means what? Like stature, dollars?
To be honest, I don't even know what that is.
That's fair. So I think, look, I think when you outsource, it's not yours.
So like freelancers instead of having
I understand the rationale for it up front, but I think the way you'll actually get there is to convert to full-time over time.
Okay, so start with that potentially and use some, all right, cool. Yep, sweet, thanks.
You got it. Any questions up there? Okay, great, I'll take it. You're welcome. What's your name?
Mimi.
Mimi?
Yes.
That's cute.
So I own a hairdressing salon and I've got...
A hair salon?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've got 8 staff and I've got 3...
8 people on your staff?
Yeah.
Keep going.
And I've got 3 apprentices. And then
3 what?
Apprentices. So
Apprentices.
Yeah, so my whole business model is that I grow people.
Yep.
So I don't hire other people from other salons. The ones I've already got, I used to work with.
I understand. So I'm just doing this for everybody else. You have your 8 and you have apprentices because you don't want any of the outside work, the way people do it on the outside, affecting your way because you have a unique way. And so you do apprentice. I do something very similar. So go ahead.
Okay, so at the moment I've got 3 apprentices.
Okay.
And I've had them all for the last one I probably hired about 2.5 years ago. So I've been trying to hire more. And it's been a 2.5 year process. Just 6 months ago, I hired 5 all at once because I just knew that some of them were going to fall away.
Okay.
Now I've got 1 left. And
Okay.
she, you know, she's a flake, right? Like what I'm finding is that because I'm working with young people,
Yep.
mostly young people, and I'm getting them from hairdressing schools, I'm getting people who are saying, I want to be a hairdresser. They're paid to try
I
to
got
be
it.
a hairdresser. They don't want to work.
Okay.
They don't want to show up. They ask me to do things. I don't know what to do. If I could take those 3 I've got.
There's two things. There's two things to do. A, realize that your management style is not working for them either. That's an important observation. You know, like we have to adjust. You're holding them to an ideology that may not be as practical to their reality. And casting judgment on millennials or these random 11 people is not going to do you any good.
You know what? I'm actually not doing that. Well, they don't know that I'm doing that.
But you are doing that. You are doing that.
I am because they constantly let me down. So I'm obviously preparing me, and my brain says, prepare yourself because you know what's going to happen because of what happened before.
But guess what? No, this is great. How many humans are we talking about? We just had 5, and how many prior to that?
It's about 2.5 years, so I'm saying probably about 12.
12.
Wow.
Like, no, I don't know how hard it is. I only have 1,000 of them. Listen, 2 things. 2 things. I really want to help. 2 things. 1, Listen to me. This framework is going to lead you down a very shitty path. You need to stop casting judgment, and you need to take a step back. If you were my sister and we were flying home, I'd say the first thing I want you to do is call all 12 of them and have dinner with them. And ask them why it didn't work out for them. And then, when you get 7 of them saying the same thing, fix that. Good one. Gotta go. 2 more. I knew Mimi was gonna come through. Thanks, Mimi. All right. Yes, sir. AI? Yeah. Sure. I mean, AI and blockchain are both, with social, you're just overlaying it, so I'm not too overly worried about how they interact with each other because they're macro technologies that will, to your point, affect social. I think the bigger thing at such a young age and thinking about those things, what you're gonna look for is timing. Where a lot of people are gonna win and way more people are gonna lose is not getting the timing down when blockchain, AI hits scale, VR for that matter, hits scale. So they're gonna affect tremendously, right? I mean, you look at Pokemon Go, that was a worldwide phenomenon that changed people's behaviors. You'd have to anticipate that is going to happen in a lot of IP, entertainment, a lot of opportunities to storytell in the real world through a phone, you also have to anticipate technology, contact lenses that naturally are activated by AR are gonna do much better because it's less friction. You don't have to hold up your phone. When you walk into a store and you have those contact lenses, are you gonna be able to see virtual inventory? There's so much coming. I wanna remind everybody that 15 years ago, we didn't have smartphones. Like, this is just starting. Watch this. How many people here remember growing up without the internet? Raise your hands. I mean, so we're just starting. So I think blockchain's an incredible technology that is gonna create peer-to-peer dynamics like we've never seen before. So to me, the big theme versus what my guesses are, because it's too early, is making sure that you really pay attention to the timing and then you strike it. Sir.
Hi, Gary.
How are you?
Not too bad. So I'm a big believer in hard work.
Me too.
And basically, I kind of live like that.
Good.
I think the downside is that I tend to want to do everything on my own, and also got high standards. So I've locked myself in the room after work to learn JavaScript and build an app, to do the graphic design as well. But it does take a lot of time. So I wanted to ask you, for a person that's starting out, would you say it's best to take the time to learn everything on your own and do it, or outsource
I like it. I don't think it's bad.
Yeah.
I think one of the big vulnerabilities for a lot of people here is they want to do social media content for their business now, and they heard me an hour ago, but they're going to go back and hire somebody who's 25, and they're not going to know how to judge if it's good. Yeah. Instead of going home and putting in the 30 or 40 hours to learn and post and try, they're going to take the shortcut and pay some young person like their nephew to do it.
I get that.
Brother, let me tell you something. To be who I've been professionally for the last 25 years, which is have the ability to be the cashier at my wine store or the CEO, to be a community manager in VaynerMedia or the CEO, the fact that not one person can walk out the door and that creates any anxiety for me because I'm a practitioner of every skill set is my biggest strength, not my weakness. And the fact that you're such a young fucking dude and have your whole life in front of you, I'm a big fan of learning skills, especially you clearly like it too.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
So don't let the thesis of scaling fast trump the truth of having skills.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna sneak one. This is gonna be the last one. Apologize, go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, I'm a photographer.
Great.
I'm slaying it on LinkedIn, doing really well, get most of my business from there.
Hold on. This is important. I'm sure, because I want to bring value here today. I'm sure you wouldn't think that a photographer is the one that's killing it on LinkedIn. It is not the natural way that we think about it, right?
True story.
I'm aware, sister. Go ahead.
On the other hand, I'm doing rubbish on Instagram.
What the fuck? I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Who knew? I've been banging at it for about 2 years now. I tried to apply the same strategy on Insta. Big fail, absolutely. So I flipped it. I tried to do just general photos, keeping it all pretty, still not working. So other than friends' kids and other photographers, I'm just doing rubbish on Insta, and I'd like to know if you've got any tips for that. For me.
Well, tip number 1 is to do a lot more on LinkedIn. You're the manifestation of my thesis. I came here and told everybody that when you buy, which is produce, when you storytell on platforms that have a lot of attention, but most people are not filling the pipes yet, and the ads are not filling the pipes, you get more than you put out. It is the nature. It's like buying beachfront property in an island that isn't popular yet, and then miraculously 25 years later, it is popular, the price went up. That's what you're doing right now. Instagram, you now have to be best. It is unbelievably competitive. Everybody's there. My intuition in this scenario is to actually triple down on strengths, not round out weaknesses.
Cool. I like that. I do Clifton strengths. I'm all about the strengths.
So how often are you posting on LinkedIn?
Every day.
How often?
About 10 times a day.
Love.
Yeah.
My direct, kind of advice is to push it to 20.
Okay, cool. Excellent, thank you.
You're welcome. Go, fast.
Earlier you talked about, oh, that's loud as shit. Earlier you talked about the 2 main reasons people don't do what you talk on stage. You said 98% of them will go home and they won't take any action. You said either it's because they're in their head and
It's
they're
now
insecure.
97 because that lovely photographer just inspired 3 people, for sure. Go ahead.
Either you said it's in your head and you're insecure,
Yep.
or you talk a big game, but you're lazy as shit.
Yes.
I don't think I'm lazy, but I have been a pussy. So I wanted to do YouTube, I wanted to make content on the internet, but because it's a personal brand and it's not been like something I can hide behind, if I'm marketing a product, say, I've been a pussy. I've been scared of my friends, family judging me.
Correct.
And I want to ask, how do I stop being a pussy?
It's funny. I always equate it to riding a bike and swimming. I think it's something that we can all resonate with. Where it seems way scarier than it is. The reality is you grew up in a framework where you overvalue people's opinions.
Yeah.
The only way for you to change that is to start getting as many opinions thrown at you as possible.
Yeah. Like even now, like thinking about it, coming up here, like, oh, I'm scared. A whole bunch of people.
Of course.
But like as I'm doing it, it's like
not as bad.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. You're just, which I think is easier than the judgment of your parents and friends. Because you're right, fuck them. But your parents and friends is your framework.
Yeah.
And it often has the answer. I genuinely believe the most blanket advice in this room is to really audit your friends and your family and start limiting your interactions with the ones that are broken. Doesn't mean cut them off completely.
Yeah.
Tough to completely cut off your dad. But limiting so that you don't hear it, I'm a fan of it.
And do you think you need specific intervention? Say, hey, fuck you, or should I just do
yes,
it?
I'm a huge.
Should I just do it and ignore?
Both work.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge fan of fuck you. Here's why. Because a lot of times, by having that conversation, you had a perception that wasn't even there. It's like a pimple in high school. Like everybody was so fucked up with that huge pimple, but when they got to high school and were completely scared of it, everybody else had their own shit. Nobody gave a fuck about your pimple. And so, you may think like your friends might think it's dorky or your dad might think it's a waste of time, and then you tell them they're dealing with their own shit, bro. The reason it's so easy for me is I know everybody has their own problems. Nobody gives a fuck about me. Once you understand that nobody gives a fuck, shit gets real interesting. They got their own problems. Thank you, New Zealand.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
You know.
unfortunately, maybe one day.
That's awesome.
Right. So, so long story short, we set our goal for 10,000, and we actually had some people that in administration that said, hey, you know what? You should lower the goal to 7,500.
Yep.
And we pretty much said, nope, not doing that. Hit 10,000 2 weeks before the event. We raised at 15. Hit that the day before the event. Raised over 16,500, and to date we've raised over $40,000 for the American Cancer Society.
That's awesome.
And that was even before I met you.
So now it's 400 million?
Now it's literally all of the money. So
all the monies.
Right, yeah. So, and
I
also,
apologize because I know there's a lot of
No,
people
I
want to get to it.
understand,
No,
yeah,
I just want, is there a question? It's okay if there isn't.
Yeah, well, I would, if you would like, if you have any sort of like time, because I know it's really, maybe after we could kind of chop it.
I will definitely email you on this flight tomorrow, and like, we're gonna offer you an internship. That was a real conversation we had. So, you may not take it. So we'll have time this summer to talk.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Let's go to more. Yes, you stand up. I apologize, brother. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna bounce around. You'll be next. Go ahead. Yep, her. Yep, I'm pointing to you. Yes.
Hi, Gary.
How are you?
I'm Miss Self Love. I have a podcast because you told me to start a podcast on Anchor. It's about helping people heal from their breakups. Anchor.fm/breakups is my podcast.
I love it.
This is my shirt.
I see it.
I'm on all platforms. I'm on TikTok. So I have a question about LinkedIn.
Okay.
So my podcast is personal.
Yep.
So LinkedIn is business. So how do I promote my podcast on a business site like LinkedIn? I really don't know how to
Just post it.
post it.
LinkedIn is not business. LinkedIn has now become Facebook.
Okay.
Like, yes, LinkedIn has the component of recruiting, but the content in LinkedIn, if you watch it carefully, looks more like Facebook 5 years ago. There is more business content, but LinkedIn has completely crossed the chasm to be a general social network when it comes to posting on LinkedIn. And so you should just post it there.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome.
I listen to your podcast every day. I can't wait to take a picture with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's go. Before we go to that, dude, I want to go to this kid because he was next.
Hi. So I have a question about starting a business. I'm trying to start sneaker resale. I was wondering what the best way to get into it is.
You're looking to start a what?
Sneaker reselling business.
So sneaker resale is super easy because, you know, are you looking to build a platform or are you just trying to sell sneakers? So I think platform's hard, especially in the world of Go and StockX and eBay. Like, everybody wants to build like the Uber, the StockX. Like, you know, to me, flipping is easy. It's grinding, it's hacking, it's figuring out the website culture, it's figuring out Instagram culture, it's figuring out staying in line for 4.5 hours. But to me, the question is, if you're just reselling, I think you know the answers. Now it's really just about bleeding and putting it, you know, going. If you're looking to build something, I think it's a very difficult time to compete on platform unless you're raising $5 to $10 million, you know, because the cost of entry now in a StockX, GOAT, you know, sneaker there's so much. Everybody wants to be the platform where people flip sneakers, not to mention eBay gets an uncomfortable amount, Instagram direct only, so that's my point of view on those two. Thank you. You're welcome.
Hi Gary, my name is Kai. I'm from Vienna in Austria, and I'm just for 1 week in New York and I have to see you.
I'm glad.
so
Thanks
glad
for being
I
here.
can see you. And my question is, I was wondering, have you ever been so highly positive, or when or what was the point in your life that you realized that positivity is the fucking game?
Yeah, I've always been very, very positive, and I do think it's a DNA trait that I share with my mom, and so yes, I think that comes natural to me. I think I'm starting to get to the point in my life where I'm also really fascinated about the advice I gave to the first question about why was I so scared about losing family as a kid? I've been thinking a lot lately about the only reoccurring nightmare I ever had in my life when I was 7 to 9 of this, I had it a lot, which was we would go back to Russia on a flight and the plane would go down, right? And I'm just really thinking a lot about it. I'm thinking about what made me so scared, why did I love my parents so much, like all those things, and what did that do to my perspective, and why did it put things in perspective? And I didn't realize being happy or positive as a kid was a business advantage, but I definitely believe that without optimism, you can't be an entrepreneur, right? It's like you have to believe, because it's super hard. So I do think optimism and positivity are incredible ingredients, but I think people have to be very careful because the other thing is I'm extremely practical and lack delusion. And being optimistic and positive leads to delusion for a lot of people. This is where self-awareness and accountability really matter. Just saying it isn't gonna get it done. And so, yes, positivity is the absolute game, but so is practicality.
Understood. Thank you.
You got it.
Hi, Gary.
How are you?
I'm great. My name is Cindy, and I am here because my son was awarded tickets by your team, First in Line. So
I love that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Two things. I have one question. First of all, I love acupuncture. That's what I do. I also do antique auctions. I have an auctioneer's license.
Love.
But that's not going so great. The
Okay.
business, that's just kind of slow.
Yep.
Not much with auctions. My side hustle, which I want to become my main hustle, is channeling psychic readings.
Okay.
And so what I'm trying to do is do Facebook Lives for free so I can give value. And
Interesting.
I actually told a couple of people here about them. And so is there anything else I could do just to I wrote a book, but...
I have an idea. I think you should do it for free in real life.
Okay.
Somewhere,
And film
wherever
it.
it doesn't get you arrested,
Yes.
And I think you should film them.
Okay.
If people allow you to. And I think that's the content you should put out.
Okay, and I totally agree with you. So thank you.
And then if you think about, and a lot of you know this, and I think a lot of you have seen the Gary Vee content model deck, and if you haven't, you should look for it. Once you film it, then you produce it contextual to LinkedIn. Then you take a clip and put on you never know which piece of content really starts the process. But I think that would really work because then people can see it.
Exactly. One more thing.
Please.
I also love gemstones, crystals, and whatnot. You need a tourmaline.
What's a tourmaline?
What it does is it looks like a piece of coal, but when you put it in your pocket, all the negative energy that goes to you, the stone pushes back against them.
But I'm doing that naturally.
Well, that'll help, Gary. That'll help.
What's it called? A what?
Tourmaline.
I might be a human tourmaline.
You are, but sometimes you need a break.
Listen, I'll get one, but I'm gonna give you a real preview.
I'll send you one.
I will take it, and now I'm gonna give you the preview.
Thank you.
No, let me give it to you.
Okay.
I will 100% lose it within 48 hours. Do you know that the biggest reason I don't wear jackets is because I lose all of them? I lose everything, except my wallet and my phone, because I always am touching them, because I lose everything. So, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
My man. Right in the corner there. He knew who Nick Anderson was, so I was hoping he was gonna have a question.
How you doing, Gary?
I'm well, brother.
My name is Manny Digital. I have a couple podcasts, but I'm most Fatherhood's being one of them. I'm here with the Fatherhood is Lit crew. We're
I
like
see
40
him.
deep.
I know that man. I saw him.
So my question to you is, just given the context of podcasts,
yes,
and sports, because I have one that's about basketball.
Okay.
my conflict is being audio first.
Yes.
And not really finding a place for video just quite yet, just because it's so ominous to me to have to do the audio piece, use clips to push everywhere, and then take the same toll with video. I know it sounds like an excuse and it's lazy,
no,
but
it's okay. That's not
how
necessarily
would you
where I'm
approach
going.
it in order to scale and try to get the listenership up?
It's just content and guests.
To just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, but I think a couple things. Like, you'll love this. Like, it's like, ready? How do you become a better basketball player? You
practice.
You practice the reps.
Right.
And so for me, the way to build awareness for one's show is practice the reps, but I want to give you all the best moves. By not putting out video clips and images, you're not developing your left hand.
Gotcha.
Got it?
Makes sense. Another question for you.
Damn, that was good if you understand basketball. If you really understand basketball, that was one of my better ones.
What size are you? Shirts?
Shirt? Medium. I got you.
Placata.
Got it. I'll rock it. And I will rock it. I will support. And that's, by the way, this is the other way. You find somebody that you know will probably rock it, you know that's gonna get attention, and you get 800 more. Let me go back to guests. You should DM every single person that is in the top 1,000 of your dream guests, and 3 are gonna say yes, and that's gonna give you leverage. I say it, keep more, right? Right? Larry Bird only made the league because he did a lot of shooting. Magic Johnson literally every morning before the bus came in literally shot 1,000 shots as a kid. That's real life. It's real life.
What's up, Gary? How you doing? I'm James from Fatherhood is Lit.
I know, baby.
I know you for a long time.
I know, man.
I've been jabbing since we've been doing the Fat Startup, and I got my son with me over here. He's gonna be 13, and he's been living off of all the jabs, right? Where now he's getting all the fruits of my labor, but it's not the money, it's the perks. How do I teach him not to pimp himself out for the free stuff and actually get some money?
So I think you teach him by. First of all, you still have an uncomfortable amount of time to ask, like, for the money. Like, before we start worrying about him, this is really important to me. How old are you? The fact that your tonality is that resigned to the fact that all the jabbing and the AKA, for everybody who doesn't know what we're saying, giving you've done, that you ran out of time, So I think the way you teach him is by you doing it, by showing him, And I also think the biggest thing that you need to pay attention to, because I know you well, is this. I know you well, which means I like you and I know you're a good guy, but I don't know how you were jabbing, so I don't know this about you. I think one of the things that I want to make sure, especially when people start looking at my framework and they're like, it's give, and then ask. I'm watching a lot of people that are trying, they tag me in it. And I think people are very confused by giving. I think people think they're giving, and I don't know if this is what you're doing, but I just want to go here because it's going to bring value to everybody. And it may allow you to think, here are the reasons why people are good at giving and then get sad that they didn't get. Here are the reasons. Number one, they literally didn't ask. Some people are actually uncomfortable with selling, which is amazing. Nothing wrong with that. It means you need to hire somebody who sells. Number two, they weren't giving, they were manipulating. There are so many people that think they're giving, but they're giving with expecting. I mean, people roll up at me like, Gary, you gave me what? You didn't give me, you rolled up on me and handed me something that I had no interest in so that you could then ask me for 2 hours of my fucking time. You didn't give me, you manipulated me. So, this is, again, because I know you're a good guy, I don't necessarily think that, but a lot of you are doing it subconsciously. You're actually not bad people at all. You're just so hungry for what you want, you don't even realize that you're not giving. You're setting up your ask. That's why I work. I work because the content I'm putting out is giving. I could care less about anything that happens after. I don't need that. I don't monetize my audience that way. I'm not looking for anything from you. And anytime I even get close to it, it's in the form of something that you wear sneakers. So if you think mine look good, I'll take it over Reebok. You know, you drink wine, but I don't want you to buy it if you don't. You know, and that's why I like those kind of things versus a mastermind for $30,000 a month to teach you more. You know? And so, you know, I think you teach them by showing. You know, there was a great quote that always really stuck with me, mainly because I work a lot and I fear the time allocation to my kids. And it was a quote of something like, my father showed me how to live. He didn't tell me how to live. That's what I think you need to do, because you got so much time.
What's up, Gary? Luck here. How you doing, man?
Really well.
So I got my 3 boys here.
I see them. Good looking crew.
So me and the missus, we got here in 2 complete different separate roads. Not even close.
Yep, makes
She
sense.
has the typical Serena story, the Tiger Woods, where her father drilled in her since she was 5 years old that you're going to be a singer-songwriter. You're going to be a singer-songwriter. 16 years old, boom, signed major record label. Successful singer-songwriter.
Amazing.
I'm the opposite. Son of immigrants that came here. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. More L's than wins, but I'm here now. And
They were telling you couldn't succeed, or the world was
The
telling
world.
you? Respect. Keep
didn't,
going.
Didn't have the
Yep,
opportunity.
Understood.
Right? So now we're at a place where those L's are in our past. They're in the rearview mirror. And we feel like we're in a great place now, but the common denominator for us is that we both didn't go to college.
Okay.
So for us, we wanted to give them the best chance for success. So we're doing.
You don't think that's college?
No, well, we're doing the opposite now. We're like, you know what? It's not worth the struggle. You shouldn't have the struggles your mom did. You shouldn't have the struggles I did. So you're going to go to this school, you're doing that. And now we feel like, where's the balance of teaching your kids this is what you have to do, giving them the best opportunity, but
You know this is the
staying
most
away.
cliche thing ever, right? Like parents always want to give their kids the things that they didn't have, but that often is exactly the thing that makes them not be able to do the things we want them to be able to do.
So what are you going to say to your kids when they say,
Well, first of all, let's get real serious about this. All 3 of those dudes are wickedly different.
they're all, not even the same kid?
You know what I mean? Like, they just are. So one of them should go to college and do that. One of them should. Like, the first thing, I don't think about kids in a master thesis. I think about 1, 2, 3. So the number one thing I think we all need to do, especially with kids in that age group, is we need to watch. Parenting is a game of listening, not talking. It's very cute that the 2 of you came up with this master thesis of what you want. What you really want is for them to be happy.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
And so I think you need to be thoughtful about that and watch it. Now, you ask kids that age what makes them happy. It's like candy and doing nothing. You know, you got a guide. But I think you shouldn't put entrepreneurship on a pedestal. You shouldn't put school on a pedestal. You should put your ears on a pedestal and really watch and listen to them. The number one, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna desperately try to put my 2 children in a position to love their process the way I love mine. And if that comes in the form of they look at daddy's success and they wanna save the elks in Peru, you know, and go that route, then and they're passionate about that, I'm fired up. I'm not gonna pay for their shit. I'm being serious. You're not gonna save the elks in Peru wearing a fucking $50,000 watch. You're not gonna have a fancy New York apartment. You decided to save the fucking elks in Peru. Your fulfillment's coming in heart, not cash.
What's going to be your biggest advice if they decide to follow in your footsteps, though?
I apologize?
What's going to be your number one advice, like your number one, like pro tip if they want to say, Dad, I want to do what you want to do, what you do?
I'm gonna say go. Mazel tov. You know, I mean, look, my kids, even from day one, are already in a better position because I plan on not giving them money, you know, but I plan on giving them an opportunity, like, And when I say that, I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. My dad let me come into his business, but my dad didn't give me the business. I built my dad's business for him and left with nothing. Let's just, one more time, drill the story home for everybody who's looking for a fucking excuse. Walked in my dad's business at 22, worked every fucking day until I was 34, built it from 3 million to 60 million, and left with nothing. Started over. Why did VaynerMedia start in Buddy Media's conference room? Because I had no money. So that's what I'll do. You want to come and work at whatever the hell I'm doing at the time? Cool. You know, but I'm not going to undermine all the employees in there and just put you on because your last name's Vaynerchuk. You want to be in the music business? I'll call the number one person and let them work. And then when I'm talking to them, I'm like, listen, don't put my kid in a fake environment. If they're good, cool. If they need to be fired, better. I don't want my kids to make money. I want them to be happy. Do you know how unhappy the unbelievable amount of 34-year-olds that have a senior job right now at some company because they know their mom asked for a favor? They feel like losers. So then they buy things to make them feel better that mean nothing. We need to start having the real conversation in our society. I'm actually very comfortable with it, as you can tell, and I think it's because I'm willing to deal with the reality of it instead of the ideology of it. I don't have those thoughts. I have the macro thought you guys have, which is you love them and you want them to be good. But like what process they go through, I don't put what I went through or the counter to what I went through on a pedestal. Not Harvard, not entrepreneurship is good. Them is what's interesting to me. Who are you right now at this time? Do you know what world they're gonna live in? You don't, because nor do I. Got it? It's a listening game.
Cheers to that. Thanks, man.
Cheers. Time. You ready to go? Hey everybody, welcome to episode 325 of the Ask Gary Vee show. And I'm very excited about this episode. Let's go right into it. I know a lot of people are watching on live stream across all the platforms, but it's going to be LinkedIn today as we continue testing out LinkedIn Live. LinkedIn, please put in your phone numbers if you have a question for my distinguished guest here today. Mark, I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself in a second. New book is out. Obviously, I'm really excited about talking about Netflix and his career, but I want to get into a bunch of questions because even in the first 3-4 minutes of just hanging with him before we went live, I think the energy is going to be really good, which is exciting to me from a content standpoint. So Mark, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about your origin story?
Sounds good, Gary. So Mark Randolph, co-founder, first CEO, Netflix, and now soon to be author, which is kind of adding something totally new to my mix.
Good for you.
Origin story. Wow, I'm 61, so I'm still working out what my origin story is.
Where were you born?
I was born just over there in Chappaqua, up in
Westchester.
Chappaqua. Yeah, so
Very nice.
I'm a New York boy.
Yes.
At least I was for the first half of my life.
And so what kind of kid were you?
So I was a kid who anytime I wanted to do something, my parents said, well, go for it.
That's awesome.
Like I'd come home and go, Dad, I'm going to go caving. And rather than being like, what are you, nuts? I'd get the, fantastic, that sounds really cool.
That's really neat.
It was really neat.
Where were you you an only child? You have siblings?
No, I'm the oldest of 3.
Okay, so right off the bat, even, it's funny, you hear that a lot more from a third child's perspective. So even as the oldest, your parents gave you some room.
Yeah, I think for third child, it's like, what's your name?
Yeah, I know.
It's that kind of thing. No, it was really great. And other thing, I do reflect back on what was it about how I grew up that maybe gave me some of the things I have. But one is that it was also a family where no was always just something to get around. It was like not something that you took no and walked away and left.
From the standpoint of if your parents said no, they appreciated you trying to figure it out?
A little bit.
Because my mom was like that a little bit.
Yeah, and also them kind of recognizing that whenever a barrier came up, it wasn't like we give up and walk away.
Okay.
It was always being said, I'll give you an amazing example.
Go right into it.
This is a little bit later. This is I was graduating from college.
Okay.
And I wanted to get a job as a advertising exec.
Okay.
I was really into
I get it. It's the
So
madman.
anyway, I applied for this job at NW Air, which
Okay.
is no longer here, but
Yep.
big firm.
Yep.
And it was one of those jobs which only usually goes to MBAs.
Yep.
This is an undergraduate, so it was a long shot thing. And there was like, I don't know, 1,000 people applying. And I got through the first round. And then the second round, they bring you to New York. And I got to the second round. And the third round, they bring you back. And I got down to the point where there was only 4 people applying for this job.
Wow.
And it was like this, holy shit. And I went in and interviewed with everybody whole day and didn't get it. And went slinking back up to upstate New York to college. And then I'm going, well, screw it. I'm not going to give up. So I wrote these long emails to letters to everybody, and basically was saying like, all right,
You fucked
I'm going
up?
to try again. What could I do better? What should I learn? What do you want to see? And then the guy goes, come on down, and brings me up and offers me the job. And the crazy thing is that no one was given the job. None of the 4 of us.
Interesting.
That this was a job which was about turning a no into a yes. And so they said no to everybody and waited to see who would not take no for an answer.
Really?
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Isn't that a crazy, crazy thing?
I love it.
Yeah. And so that really is probably the best articulation of how I grew up.
Interesting. So you took that job?
No.
I kind of actually notice how I just set that up. I kind of, the way you were telling the story, I'm like, he didn't take the fucking job.
I didn't. I took an even crazier job.
Which was?
There was a guy. I haven't even told this story before. There was a guy in Memphis, Tennessee, owned a big cotton company, sold it, been in the family for 200 years, made $1 gazillion.
Okay.
And was basically driving around and throwing money out the window, basically.
It feels like today.
Yeah, there you go.
Uh-huh.
He bought these properties. And I'm kind of an outdoorsy guy.
Okay.
I mean, I've always been into like
Yeah,
climbing.
even your story was caves.
Yes, absolutely.
Like I was like, whoa.
So this guy had bought a ski shop. He had bought a place out in Vail, and he was looking for someone to tie them all together. And he goes, "You're gonna run this kind of this big co-marketing business."
Did you know
And
him
that-
through family friends?
Because
Because there's no way that somebody like that would give you that at bat at that young of an age unless there was some other variable relationship.
Gary, you're dragging me down to these complicated stories, but
Uh-huh.
you're probing. So there's an organization that
And I
work-
apologize, and this is where I want to bring value to the audience, Mark. Here's why. The reason I'm probing is because I have a very good sense of my audience. And ironically, I'm pretty good at this, other than the fact I love to interrupt all the time because because I already know what the answers are, and because I'm usually on a time crunch. So the audience gets mad at me because I interrupt everyone. On the flip side, of what stories could bring value, I promise you, Mark. Let me tell you one thing about this audience. This is not the Today Show. Like, what's amazing about this audience is 34 people, arbitrary number, just heard that story and literally in the next 24 hours are going to reply to a no, and one of them is going to get a yes. And you and I literally right now just changed the course of somebody's life, and that's what gets me high.
It's unbelievable. And by the way, don't worry about the interrupting. I mean, if you had just said like pass the rolls, I would have thought I was sitting at
Yeah,
home.
I love it. So go ahead. So tell me about the story. The
it's
Memphis
totally cool.
dude, how'd you get to him?
So when I was 14, my parents packed me off to Wyoming to do this backpacking trip in the mountains. And it turns
I apologize again. Which one of your parents was super outdoorsy, if either?
My dad.
Okay.
My
Keep
dad.
going.
My dad grew up in Austria, so he kind of had this
Interesting.
whole.
Keep going.
So, and then I loved this program, and it was a program that teaches leadership using a wilderness as a setting. And I was a student there for 3 or 4 summers, and then I ended up teaching there as a leader. And then eventually got to the point I was leading the whole courses. So a lot of responsibility young. That was my college summer job. And so this Julian J. Hohenberg III, the guy with the cotton company,
Yep.
one of the things he did when he was throwing the money out the window was, I'm going to take a course. He went out to Wyoming. He did this course.
You taught it?
I did not.
Okay.
But he was so enamored
by the course
and the instructors that when he heard through someone else that I was a course leader there, he goes, I want that guy.
You know what's so funny? I, to this day, still have that in me. You show me a kid, a guy or a gal, who flips sneakers, sells blow pops, does cards. Like, I believe in that shit.
You know what the genetic marker is for entrepreneurship?
I do not.
It's candy arbitrage. Everyone, almost everyone I meet, like you said, it's the same thing. It's going in and buying it for 10 cents, and the next day you go to school for $1.
And if you show me any,
and
it's
people
why
see that.
It's why I love people that sell weed. Like, if you tell me that you sold weed from a bad neighborhood, obviously, normally, but not always, and you sold nickel bags, I already am interested in you because it means you literally arbitraged dime bags. Well, this is somebody who's never smoked weed telling this story, but Mount Ida College taught me. But I always thought my friend Rob Muse would have been a good entrepreneur because he had the discipline and the grind to go down to the nickel bag level. That takes a real fucking commitment. And so arbitrage in any way.
Absolutely right. It's the vision to go, oh, I'm not gonna. It's seeing an opportunity. It's seeing a pressure differential.
100%.
And that happens for kids who are 6 when it's candy. It happens for people when they're 26 or 46 when they see, oh man, taxis suck. You know, I'm gonna do
100,000%.
That's why it's such a marker for that. It's someone who sees those things early, matched, of course, with all these other things that you've seen, which is.
So that's what happened. You're a kid out of school. You're 22.
Yeah.
And you're now running this conglomerate of different businesses.
And then even worse, I did this job for 6 months. And this company, better. The company that one of the properties was in the kind of a ghost town resort outside of Vail.
Okay.
And the manager left, and I go, I want that job. And so they moved me out, and now you have this 23-year-old who knows nothing, and he's running this place, which has 60 employees and has these huge cash flow issues, and a restaurant and a bar, and then I'm going down. I'm doing the marketing and the advertising, and it was like cash flow 101. It was management 101. It was thrown into this super deep pool and going swim. Oh, don't know how.
No, I get it, Mark. Honestly, I'm sitting here quiet because I'm like, oh my God, we grew up the same way. I mean, by the way, I'm the byproduct of the same thing in a liquor store.
Yeah.
It was a small base of like 4 or 5, 6 employees, and then I grew it. But by the time I was 25 years old, I had managed people. I had paid all my bills with my own cash flow. Yeah. No credit line. Forget about fucking raising capital. No credit line. The first business I built from $3 to $60 million a year in fucking 8 years had no credit line.
See, that's awesome because then you don't see credit as a crutch. You see it as it's a thing to use, but you know now how to use that. Otherwise, it's awesome.
And even if you're trained in it, when I raised money for empathy, I didn't spend it as well.
Yeah.
When like
that's exactly right. It's something that, let's say, if you overspend, you're out of business, and that is 100%. A very, very strict teacher. So I mean,
so you did that.
These are cool things.
You learned some stuff.
Did that, and then it got probably the job which influenced me the most is I got this weird job.
That's a quick question that I think a lot of people struggle with. So you're 23 and you're in this resort town, right?
Yeah.
Ski resort town?
Sort of. It's halfway between Vail and Steamboat, which means it's in the middle of nowhere.
Got it.
But it's close to both.
And you're 23.
23.
And you've got this kind of cool big job.
Yep.
How did you balance your personal life and your professional life at that point in your life? Because I'm not going to even lead the question. What did you do? How much did you date? How much fun were you having? How much not fun were you having?
That's a great thing. It was a really good lesson. I had a lot of fun. So don't get me wrong, because everyone who was working there was 23.
That's where I was going. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so and it was.
And you were the alpha of the 23. And that was leverage.
That was the bad part, though. Was that these guys? It was on the banks of the Colorado River, so they'd all go, "Hey, we're all going rafting," and I'm going, "I've got to do, inventory, or I got to pay." I mean, I had these responsibilities, and it kind of really was painful. So I got a lot of fun. So I'm not bemoaning it, but there was this realization that there's a different level of responsibility that I had. But I did meet my wife there, and so something amazing did come out of
That's awesome.
Come out of that.
Go ahead.
All right, so come back east, and got this.
How old?
Must have been only 24.
Still so young. You were there quick.
25, 2 years in Colorado, 2.5 years.
Okay, keep going.
So come back and got this crazy job, basically as a gopher to the CEO of a music publishing company. I think my title was like chief of staff or something.
The reason I'm looking at all these guys is like literally so far. I just want everybody who's listening to me right now to, I'm sorry, Mark, I'm taking this episode over. Everyone who's listening, I don't know if you've been listening, but I think I could see some of you in the room putting the pieces together. My core advice is to do and like manage and like actually make and stuff like that. And then, or if you want to be somebody, go work as an admin, a gopher, a chief of staff, for somebody that's extremely at a very high level, eat shit is basically what I'm saying. Basically is what I'm saying. And I'm just going to make it simple here. So far what I've heard from Mark is the first two things he did in his career was jumped in full throttle. Sacrifice is what he was saying. Couldn't have as much fun. Dealt with all that. Was practical. And then had the humility. Let's say it one more time for all the people out there that love being a CEO. Had the humility to go from being the lead dog of something like that, you know, in that ecosystem, to then going and being a gopher, a chief of staff of what we're ever about to hear. And I just want to remind all of you, this all led for him to be the co-founder and CEO of Netflix. Keep going, Mark.
So I'm so glad you called a little time out on that one, because that is the piece of advice I give to every single person who goes, I want to come out to Silicon Valley. I want to be an entrepreneur. What should I do? And the answer is really simple. You find the smartest person who will take you seriously and do anything they ask.
The end.
That's it. And
just get close to the sun.
Absolutely right. Watch, and I got this job.
Wow, you're shaking your head, right? Because now you're thinking about Naguib and you think about all the, right? It's fucking the game.
It's such a simple thing, and people get all hung up on their ego, and they go
because their ego's insecure.
I have a degree in this.
Nobody gives a fuck about your degree.
That's
it's
my point.
2019. Nobody gives a fuck.
Or
what your
SAT is.
You know, SATs? Isn't it like 2,400 now? They fucking changed that shit.
Gary.
Nobody even knows what the fucking rules are about SATs anymore.
But Gary.
It's crazy. It's just, you got to do stuff, and you got to see how people who know how to do it do it. And it's the combination of those two things. And
So what? Some music?
I crashed Photoshop.
It was a music publishing
fun.
company, so it had rights. You know,
You want me to work.
Published sheet music books, all administered music rights, that kind of stuff.
What was the guy's name or gal's name?
The guy's name was Lauren Kaiser, believe it or not.
And what, like old school dude?
Yeah, a little bit. But you know, I thought my job was
rough?
What?
Was he rough?
Yeah, absolutely. He was kind of a street guy.
Like me,
But he
boy.
was music, you know. But he was.
Give me one ridiculous story that he like what he like. Give me something ridiculous that happened in the first 6 months that you were there. So you get there.
Oh.
You're a little bit Colorado chill now.
Yeah,
You get back into the East Coast speed.
It was.
And here's fucking Lauren from the streets.
Pretty intense because it was lots of yelling. That's where
that's where I thought you
that
were
was.
gonna go.
That was the hard part about
Right?
it. I mean, you saw how this guy treated people at all different
All
levels.
levels.
Yeah, like whether it was, you see how he dealt with this person or the talent who came in. He was nice to them, and it was like a real disconnect.
He was nice to the talent and shitted on the help.
Yes.
I understand.
And it was kind of a
Old
weird
school.
thing.
No,
Yeah.
it's not a weird thing. It's how fucking a lot of people did it.
But it was
and
kind
it's
of
why I want to do the reverse.
Right, exactly. Kind of really formed this thing in me. There's this guy. Oh God, this is a good one. I haven't told this story either, so these are good.
go.
So there's a guy who was the production manager. Okay, who's the guy who's in charge of getting the books out on time.
Yes.
Unbelievable asshole. I mean, seriously.
Yep.
And this is a true story. One time when someone was about to call him and said, "We're going to miss my deadline," he goes, "You are not going to miss the deadline," and then he sent them a little package, and it had a razor blade, a rubber band, and a Dixie cup. And he sent it to them and said, "If this is late, I want your balls in that cup." Like, Jesus. I'm going, oh my
It's a
God.
surprise and delight in a different way.
Good.
Okay, and?
It's awesome.
But the weird thing is, everyone liked this guy. Like every morning, "Hey, Frank. Hey, good morning, Frank. How was your weekend, Frank?" And so I'm going, what is wrong with me? Why do I hate this guy? Why can I not stand this guy?
They feared
And everyone else seems to like him. And then, of course, what happens is he gets fired. And as soon as he's gone,
Everyone hates him.
oh, what an asshole. And that was another huge revelation for me of seeing, I call it, of realizing that my judgment is okay.
I understand.
That if I think someone's
How long did you do it? The chief of staff.
That job?
Yeah.
Not long, because what happened
You
is,
didn't like the culture.
no, I stayed at the company. But part of it was working around, he had all these different businesses, and one of them was a mail order division. Now we're getting into the big intersection between you and me.
Yes, go ahead.
And
what year is this? Like,
this
paint
was,
me a picture.
God, 1985 or 6.
Go ahead.
And but the mail order division is in the back of all the songbooks is a little line of type that says, "For a list of more great Cherry Lane songbooks, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to," and my job, and I said, for God knows why, I want that job. I told them.
Because you could have autonomy?
Yes. And then, so my job at first was...
I just want to remind everybody, like, we're really getting meta here. There's a reason why, now that I understand Mark's framework, you could see how easy that was. I'm sure a lot of people were watching and literally were just like, how do you know that? I know that because once I understand somebody's framework to the world, which we clearly have a very similar one, it's very easy for me to understand that. And it's also where all the opportunity is right now. If you're working somewhere, what's great about entrepreneurship is it's autonomy. What's great about being an executive who has deep entrepreneurial tendencies, but for whatever reason is currently not an entrepreneur, is the ability to see the arbitrage where there is autonomy. Usually where nobody's paying attention to.
Yeah.
Usually where there's no money yet.
If you wait till it's obvious, it's too late. So that's part of it. So anyway, I went into this business, which is Xeroxing the list of more great Cherry Link songbooks and sticking it in the self-addressed stamped envelope, and then going to the warehouse and fulfilling the orders. Why do you
think you had so much humility to take on these jobs? Like, go deep with me. Like, not surface level. Why intuitively, deeply, do you think you had the ability to have humility? Because I believe humility has been my deepest advantage on the market. It's not the one that's obvious.
I don't really care what people think of me, but I think that's looking back. I think for the first 10 years, I didn't even realize that was it. I didn't really care what people thought of me. And so I was following my intellectual curiosity without going through the filter of how will this look? Or, you know what I mean?
I understand. Yes, I do know what you mean.
So I think that's part of it. And this is fascinating for some weird reason.
Intuitively, you're like, there's something here.
Direct marketing.
Yep.
All of a sudden we'll do color list of songbooks with photos, and now it's a brochure, and then it's a catalog, and it's mailing.
Did you love the feedback?
Oh my God.
Like, was that feedback loop the addiction?
Unbelievable.
Because that's what it was for me at first when I think back to marketing.
Sure.
What if I do this? What will happen? It was almost scientific.
And avoiding all the argument. Oh no, it should be red. No, it should be blue.
Full autonomy.
I know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I know, in fact, red is 0.274% better than blue.
But you knew that after the fact.
Yes, of course. That's the beautiful thing of it.
Well, that's having humility to being okay with being wrong.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I posted an Instagram post upside down. The video's upside down. It did not do well. I fucking am so happy you don't even know. I hypothesized that it might do well. I wanted it to do well, but nothing gets me more excited than when the market says to me, hey, tough guy, you think you're so fucking good after 25 years? Eat this, dick. I love that. I love when the market does that to me.
It would be upsetting if all of a sudden they didn't really get the same response upside down as right side up. That would really say something.
Well, to me, it's like breaking behavior, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you break through? And
right.
So anyway, nonetheless.
Okay. So I direct marketing, so it turns into that. I built this thing up into like a mail order division, like really pretty substantial.
Became real.
Then the next big break was this music company goes, we want to start a magazine. We're going to start a guitar magazine with sheet music in it. And they're all clamoring for the editorial positions because everyone there is into music. And they're going, who's going to do the circulation? And it's like one of those, everyone take one step, whoever wants to do it, take one step forward, and they all step backwards. And it's like, I'm going, I don't know how to do magazine circulation. And I taught myself magazine circulation, which is subscriptions, subscription marketing, how that whole business works. Launched the magazine.
What was the magazine?
Called Guitar. Yeah, pretty big.
Heard of it.
Pretty good one, yeah. Successful. Then I got recruited away from there to help start a computer magazine called Mac User. Went to Mac User, and again doing all the circulation work. We sold Mac User to Ziff Davis. I'm aware. Launched a mail order company. I launched this one. Now, each time I'm getting more and more toward being the alpha of these things. Then they put me in charge of launching a mail order company called Mac Warehouse and Micro Warehouse. Big mail order company.
Not on my radar, but go ahead.
Yeah, and that went public, but before then, I got the next big break, which is ended up getting hired to turn around a mail order company in Carmel, California. Off my wife and I go to Carmel, assuming it's an expat type assignment. In other words, I'm an East Coast boy. And you get to California and you're going, this isn't so bad.
The weather can trick you every time.
Especially Carmel, which is like
when
spectacular.
wine country and all that. Go ahead. And
So I turned the company around. We sold it to a company back here. And my wife and I are looking at each other and going like,
we don't want to go
I'm
back.
not sure we want to go back to there. And the thing is in Carmel, which is it's right on the coast, but it's kind of south. There's nothing around it. So there's no jobs south, no jobs east rather. Certainly no jobs west. The ocean's there. So it's go north, young man. And I ended up getting a job at a company called Borland International. With this Philippe Kahn guy that I mentioned earlier was CEO. And this was old-fashioned software. Everything was sold in a computer store, all
Right,
retail.
in a box.
No downloads, obviously.
Of course.
No mail order.
I remember it.
And I saw the arbitrage. I go, this is nuts. I knew all this stuff about mail order. I knew catalogs. I knew how this was going to direct mail. I'd mailed gazillion pieces of direct mail getting these magazines launched. And I go, this is crazy. And convinced them to hire me to do the direct marketing. And that took me longer. I was at Borland almost 7 years, but it took me 4 years to bring that to almost 45% of all their sales was direct sales. Huge thing. Buried the earth like a foot deep in mail order pieces for software, but unbelievable. But that was the next transition. There's a theme of all this
I'm
stuff.
listening.
It's like falling uphill. They needed someone to run one of their software divisions. I was in this marketing group because I was sales, and they go, "Can you run this as a general manager?" And that put me really into the tech business, because then I had programmers working for me, and I had the full responsibility for bringing out a product.
Yes.
And that was the transition into being much more into general management in the tech business.
Yes.
Learning how software was made, learning all those pieces.
Yes.
We sold off my division, and then ended up, we're almost here.
I'm listening.
Ended up, we sold off that division, and I went to work for a small startup called Visioneer, which made scanners, which was the most dysfunctional place, even more than the music publishing place. The most dysfunctional place, because the CEO.
Everything stems from the top.
It does. He was like,
You could have a 2-person company that's dysfunctional if
Yep.
she or he is an idiot.
It just wouldn't make a decision. It didn't let people have fiefdoms and fight with each other. It was the only job, my wife has since said, that she could tell I did not want to go to work in the morning.
Interesting. Makes sense.
So
How long were you there?
about 15 months, and I got fired. So second time in my life I've been fired, which
They did you a huge fucking favor.
yeah, absolutely. You're telling me. And then I went to work. I overcompensated and went to work for two very good friends of mine, starting a small software company. And I say overcompensated because it was great working for my friends.
I understand what you're saying.
It was a really geeky software company. It was making tools for quality assurance engineers.
At that point, after that 15-month experience, it was nice to go somewhere safe.
Oh my God,
Yeah, I get it.
absolutely.
I understand what
had
you're
to be
saying.
with
I
people I
understand.
liked and enjoyed.
I'm a big fan of what you did.
The other thing, though, as a marketing person, I kind of have always wanted to understand and like my product, and I couldn't empathize that well with people who did quality assurance, but you teach yourself.
The great gift of my life is I've never sold anything I don't believe in.
Yeah.
I just refuse to. I'm not good at it.
That's the thing. And if you're not good,
I suck at selling. I'm great at talking about the shit I fucking believe in.
That's it. I totally agree with you, Gary. That's really cool.
Well, that was interesting. Anyway, keep going.
So anyway, that's what led, because that little software company that I was with these two other guys starting, we had 12 people, and we got sold to a big software company called Pure Atria, which was a company which had been founded and was being run by a gentleman named Reed Hastings.
That was a good transaction for you, mister.
Absolutely right, because those guys all got banished to the basement to be a business unit.
Mhm.
I was put in as the head of marketing because he needed a marketing person. So I began working directly for Reed.
When?
This was 1996 or 1995.
And thus became the relationship.
Yes, and luckily, not just was I working directly for Reed, Reed and I found out we lived in the same town. And so we began commuting to work every day.
Wow.
And formed this friendship. And then the real break was that 6 to 9 months later, Pure Atria was acquired. And unlike the last transition, which was great, investors all made money and we all got to keep jobs, This one, the investors made money, but Reed and I were going to get fired. Or
I understand.
made redundant,
I understand.
as the expression goes. And I said, awesome, I'm going to start a company. This
You were
is
ready.
Yeah. And
How old were you at the time?
38.
Go ahead.
37, 38, something like. I'm bad with
You were ready.
that. Oh, I was ready. And I'd kind of had these responsibilities of starting companies,
I
but
understand.
within a framework.
Yep.
And I knew what I wanted to do because I had 20 years of direct marketing experience. I had circular subscription. I knew a lot of these pieces, and I saw in the internet that this was direct response on steroids.
Scale.
This was catalog done to a level that no one could imagine
I remember.
doing Yeah.
When I launched WineLibrary.com in '96, the entire wine business at the highest level, the K&Ls, the Zackies, the Chevrolets, who I aspired to defeat, their entire infrastructure was on catalog. And I remember vividly the first time I saw them in '94, and I was like, I've got them. I
Yeah.
really got that.
Absolutely, and every month they miss the boat. You're going like,
And they missed the boat
I'm not
into
saying
the
it.
early 2000s.
Yeah, I know, isn't
That's
that
the
nuts?
beautiful part of people being,
Early.
high on the way they did it.
Yep.
Right? People hold on. It's happening right now. It's why half my audience is not going on TikTok right now because they made it on Instagram or YouTube.
Yeah. We should talk about that later. It's a big dynamic about people wanting to lock into what they did in the past and being unwilling to transition to the future.
It's the biggest. When it's all said and done, it's one of the biggest ingredients to why you and I have had professional success. We do not demonize the future, and we do not put the past on a pedestal.
And we're willing to walk away from the past, no matter how good and comfortable the past
I'll
is.
spit on the fucking past. Ready for
grind
this?
on it.
Not only will I spit on the past, I'll spit on the past that did right by me.
Yes.
I built Wine Library on the back of email marketing, on the back of direct mail, on the back of print, on the back of radio. It was later that social emerged. I will shit on social one day.
Yep.
I only care about the consumer. And whatever she or he is doing is my religion. There is nothing else.
It is so funny because I'll put us in the same category. You and I see this so clearly, and you can tell people, here's how it works.
It's my friend.
It's hard.
It's built on self-esteem and humility. That's why we see it.
Yeah. It's weird.
Here's why. Whenever our timing has been off, has been when we've micro failed.
What do you mean?
Our game is predicated on timing.
Yeah.
When you see it, you have to get your timing right.
Yeah, right.
I'm a better executive today than the 21-year-old version of me because I understand timing better.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
And you see more patterns, and you're getting better at all those
That's
things.
right.
Yeah, it's cool.
But but because we've had micro failures, because we were there too early, because it's never too late.
Yeah.
We've been there because we don't put that on a pedestal. We can only be too early.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
But you can be too early, but
correct.
Right.
So we are only vulnerable to that, and thus, when we've micro failed, it's been predicated on that. Thus, we had to be able to deal with judgment.
Right.
The reason people like the past is because it's safe. Nobody gets fired for
It's
buying
what
a
everyone's
commercial
doing,
in marketing right now.
Yeah, well said.
Let's get to this part because
Okay.
my entire ecosystem around me is stressed because I'm super behind. Talk to me about the book.
Okay, so
Actually, we can't.
This was actually
we need to talk about Netflix for a second. So you're right on the cusp. I can't pull the rug out from.
Well, no, it's actually a fantastic intro because what we've done is led this right up to where the book picks up.
Yep.
Which is where Reed and I are in the car, driving back and forth in this period where we're waiting for the deal to close, nothing really to do, and going, what next?
And you're brainstorming.
And we're brainstorming because I'm starting this company. Reed's not. He's going to go off and be in.
Go ahead.
He's going to go off and reform education, but he wants in. And so he says, I'll back you, and I'll be on the board. Go off and do this. But we need the idea. And that really is where That Will Never Work kicks off, is us brainstorming ideas, and stupid ideas.
Everything.
Personalized baseball bats and customized dog food and
Of course.
shampoo deliveries.
All predicated on this model of delivering it.
And
Internet and delivering it physically.
and
I got it.
personalization.
And personalization.
Which is my other big theme. So we were looking for this category, and then this crazy nut like Jeff Bezos has this weird idea about selling books. And so we're going, what are the other big categories? And video is an $8 billion video sales, $8 billion category. But
I fucking hate Jeff Bezos.
Were you the CEO when Blockbuster passed on buying Netflix, or no?
No.
That was after.
Yeah,
Well,
that's back when you were reading
all that money, man.
Understood. I love shit like that. Like I love
Are you
that. I don't know if you
retarded?
know this. I don't know if you know that Yahoo bought both Google and Facebook, and both deals died.
Really?
Really.
I did not know that.
So I always think about the what ifs.
Yeah. That'd be a great. I was thinking that should be one of those special interactive TV specials where you can hit this button and you see what happens if Blockbuster did buy us.
Do you know that is my dream of what heaven is? My core dream of heaven is being able to see scenarios play out that didn't.
Yeah.
The reason I'm never scared to make a decision is I know you'll never know the alternative.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So to me, my nirvana mindset of what heaven could be is the idea of going to heaven and then be like, this is the one that I always think about. So I'd be like, okay, heaven machine. Like I sit down, I'm like, fuck,
Heaven machine.
all right, fuck it. Let's move on to the next chapter. You know, this is literally how I picture it. I'm like, all right, fuck it. Let me start enjoying the new thing. Fuck it.
Yeah.
It's over. I died. All right. So I would say, all right, heaven. First question.
All right, heaven.
Show me the draft pick that the Jets should have taken that would have led them to actually winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right? And then you see it play out. The biggest one for me that I always think about, heaven, show me when I would have died from a horrific accident had I not done something weird like went back and forgot my keys and thus that threw off the timing and the tree would have fell on me. Or when I took that flight and had I stayed here, I would have choked on that bone at dinner. Like, I don't think people understand. This is what fascinates me about decision making. People think it's binary.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, which job or university or what start? Like, you're not gonna. It
Doesn't make that big of a difference. Yeah. It's just one little choice. It's not going to set your whole life path. You have control of those
I
things.
talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
So that's what this book's about.
So this book is about two things. It's the untold story. It kind of reveals that it's not just.
I don't know this at all. Where are your and Reed's relationship right now?
Really-
Great, awesome.
Really good.
Yeah. I don't know.
Still socialize together. We
awesome.
we talk all the time. I mean, we had a
because I would have a lot of empathy to write this book in the white heat moment of Netflix right now, and it's still like we're still right in the epicenter. I'm actually genuinely curious. It'd almost be like if my brother right now wrote the book of VaynerMedia. Like we're still in it.
Yeah.
I always think it's a lot easier to talk about shit when it's over.
Yeah.
So I guess my real question is, was there anything you wrote in there that you were like, oh man, I hope Reed is okay with me saying this? Did you have him read it? Like, I actually am very curious about how you write this book right now.
Both of those things, which is, I said to myself, I have to be honest and vulnerable here.
Yes.
About myself. Because there's a lot of stuff that I didn't do well. A lot of things I made mistakes.
Of course.
Because the whole point of the book is to show that someone can make a dream come true, but it's really to say how, so that someone else can see these things and go, I think I could do that. Not start a company, not become, but take any idea they have.
And execute.
That's what I wanted, and to do that, I have to show that I'm not superhuman.
Sure.
I don't make miraculously always the right decisions. It's an approach. So I did the same thing with Reed. He is a real person, not this super CEO. And I love it. Was
did you,
done.
Did you go up? Did you do? Did you go up front and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about writing this book, and if I'm going to do it, I'm going to be super transparent about it, and thus I'm going to talk about my shortcomings. But are you okay with me going there because he's still in it?"
Yes, we talked a bunch about it.
I believe you.
There was one moment.
I mean, I apologize, but I think about my brother coming to me, and I was like, I want to write this book, and I'm like, cool. Like where my body goes, like, bro, can't you just wait? Because while I'm still in it, you're fucking with it while I'm in it. Whereas when it's over, I've been able to share so much more about Wine Library since I'm out of it. There's so much I still want to share about to my audience that I can't just yet. Because if I do, it fucks me up because I'm actively fucking driving this boat still right now.
Absolutely true. And it took distance. I could have written this when I left. I left in 2003, so 16 years ago.
Yeah, that's
so
fucking nuts.
It took that much time for me to get some distance because I had to realize all the things that I did, not just at Netflix, but at the previous companies.
Yeah.
What were the ones that were
Mark,
just happenstance, and what were the ones that worked?
Because this is a really interesting question. I believe that I talk a lot about creating clarity of the fact that I owned nothing of Wine Library because I thought it was important to help the audience. But there is an absolute truth to the fact that there was a certain time in my career that I didn't want to create that clarity because there was a level of, that's who I was. Like I was a owner of Wine Library. Like I didn't want to give up that truth because otherwise I had nothing because I restarted.
Right.
And if I'm being fair with myself, I didn't create as much clarity of me owning nothing and building it for my parents. Now it's this noble act. But for 3 or 4 years there where I didn't create clarity, I needed it. I had my own level of insecurity, even though I'm never that insecure.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. I apologize.
No, sure.
But I want to ask you a very deep question for me. How are you dealing with, it's been 60, I think I'm only even asking you this question because of the vibe you gave me by saying it's been 16 years. It must be very tricky to be the co-founder and first CEO of Netflix in a world where it is the company that it is now, which is a very different, iteration of what it was. Like, how do you balance the gravitas of such a title versus your own internal mechanism of how much or how little, which I have no context for, of how you feel about where it is today being based on your DNA and execution?
That's an unbelievably good question because it is something that took a long time to put into context, which is I don't want to take credit for something that's not me.
I believe that about you, which is why I even felt the courage to ask you the question I just asked,
Writing
which
this
is
book
why I
was-
think it's a super important question.
Writing the book was fantastic because you begin to realize what we really did accomplish in going from 0 to 1. Right. What Reed has done is gone from 1 to 7,290, which is also remarkable.
I understand.
And I recognize every minute that
I
when I
understand.
travel someplace and everyone wants a selfie with me because of Netflix,
Yes.
that's not because of me.
Yeah.
So the real thing is, what do you do with
Or
that?
calibrating what part of you that is.
Correct. You can't. I'm not going to say no, go away. I mean, that's. But
Of course.
I am saying, what do I do with that?
Yeah, that's right.
I can show up to speak and people come to hear me.
And
What
Mark,
do
I'll
I?
be
How do
honest
I
with you.
use that?
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. Having it framed up in my mind of what was going to happen, that's actually just not true. Having enough knowledge of what happened with the company from afar, it's really interesting where my mind and heart is going right now, which is, wow, this guy has so much to fucking give. Because I very much, listen, this is me paying a compliment to myself, so it's not as good of a compliment as it sounds. But the reality is when I see these similarities that we have, and I know how valuable they are to be a conversation, all of a sudden it's like put me in this happy place. And it's actually where I actually asked you that question because I actually think it's the kryptonite potentially to all the good you can do over the next 3 decades. I think, and just hearing you answer it, and even the 0 to 1, 1 to, I'm happy right now because I believe you have a lot to give based on what I'm hearing come out of your mouth and the origin story. And I love the fact that you've been able to calibrate this dragon because I think the dragon could have been the thing that unwound you. Do you know how many, you know this because you're doing the reverse of it. You know how many fuckers run around and take credit for shit that they're not even remotely close to having to do with it. They happen to stumble. There's literally people who fucking cleaned the toilet at Netflix in week 1 who claimed to be the CEO.
Yeah, it's bogus. I agree.
It happens every day.
Yeah, and it's absolutely what I did not want that
I
to be.
believe that.
And
Now.
it's also saying wasn't me. There's a cast
Now.
of there's a
And it's a
cast
really important point.
There's a cast even the 0 to 1. There's a cast of people who all contributed
100%.
immensely. And that's what I want. That's what I want people to see.
I believe you.
Is this how? Is this that this is not some guy who got
Mark,
his MBA
Can I give you a huge recommendation?
Of course.
I highly recommend you putting out some more content around this on LinkedIn at scale. I think you can really help people. I think there's a
I'm
lot of
doing
people
my
who
best.
don't have the luxury of you and I's self-esteem and circumstances who create association with success that has nothing to do with it. You know what it's like? It's like all those Golden State Warrior and Patriot fans that run around that aren't from those towns who need to wear those jerseys to think they're successful. All these fuckface Patriot fans, Mark, that are walking around today proud of themselves because they root for a team that won 43-0 yesterday are losers.
Yeah.
Now, you can have pride in your team, but if you have no association to the Patriots, you're not from Boston. Nobody in your family's from Boston. You didn't. My favorite bullshit one. You didn't go to Michigan. All these fuck faces from Michigan were like, well, I went to Michigan and Brady went to Michigan, so I'm a Patriot fan. Fuck you. You're from Seattle, dick. You know? So all those people, right? You know, the people from New England, the people whose parents are from New England, they can get there a little bit. But like needing some association from winning to make yourself feel like a winner is the great vulnerability of our society.
Yeah, that's a really astute observation. I agree. Wow.
And I think you, with this story and your DNA is no joke. So far, I don't know that many people, but I know a lot of stuff. Could have an incredible impact on this conversation that I think leads to a lot more happiness and a lot less insecurity. You.
Yeah.
I really mean it. I you know, I'm being selfish about an ambition towards happiness. A lot of people try to associate themselves with winning that they deep down know they had nothing to do with.
Yeah, it's an honesty and a vulnerability, and you got to be able to do that for yourself before you can do it for everybody.
Where do you live?
I live in Santa Cruz, California, which is beautiful. So I've got it great now. I do get it. I don't do it. I have a slightly different model because I work with this very small number of people, doing mentoring for early stage startups.
Did you fuck up selling shares of Netflix?
Did I what?
How did you play your selling of shares? Not to go too deep into your
no.
Let me give you an example. Let me tell you why I'm asking, because I think it could teach people something. I never sold a share of Facebook. I was a very early investor. Right? And I never sold a share, and it blows my mind that I now have more money than a lot of early Facebook employees who sold at $19 a share because they just wanted the quick liquid. I've never been in a position like you have. I'm always fascinated by executives that are part of these kind of long tail wins. Like by selling one share, you're leaving money on the table, and I'm always fascinated how people play it. I don't want you to go too deep because I don't like to pry. How did you think about it strategically along the way?
Exactly the opposite of you.
Please.
Really? My attitude is nobody knows anything.
That. Fair.
I mean, you were lucky with Facebook. Why?
You might
have owned shares of Yahoo, and if you tell me I could tell the difference between Facebook and Yahoo.
I never say that.
And if you had Yahoo, you'd have lost all your money.
Yours, I have more empathy for because there was such a substantial business model shift.
Yeah.
I was flabbergasted, and this is where I can say I wasn't lucky because you could see videos of me as Fat Gary during that time, yelling at people that Facebook hasn't even started, yelling. Yours is different because it was such a gigantic switch of a business model.
Yeah, it's true. But that, I have always had faith in our ability to do those things we talked about earlier, which is always leave the past behind and evolve and recognize. And we did it many times.
Control.
I have a whole bunch of examples of when we did that. I knew this company would do that, but still I sold shares continuously.
That I understand. I think the question is, did you go by the book and do what a lot of executives continuously, or
no, you
please?
weren't allowed to do that back when I was a lad, because then if you were, first of all, we had the IPO, and I had some reasonable successes, these magazines we'd sold, mail order companies, and all that kind of stuff. So, but this was a different order of magnitude.
Yes.
And
were you freaking out?
Yeah, of course I was freaking out.
And were you like, I can't wait to 6 months to sell like the unlock?
No.
Okay.
Different.
Some part of you.
Yes, but not for that reason. I was going, this is so different. I can't gamble my family's legacies.
I respect that.
Because of that. And so it actually was there was two reasons I left Netflix. And one was recognizing I'm not
the guy for this.
It's too big of a company now for me. I'm not good at that.
I get it.
The other one, though.
By the way, real quick, I apologize. I will never be the CEO of a public company. I won't. I can't.
Very different.
I'll be terrible at it.
Yeah.
No, really bad. Like I get on a fucking like what do they call when you have
earnings
to do
call?
Earnings call? Like the first question is like, Gary, why did Vayner have a bad December? I'm like, fuck you, motherfucker. What do you mean you're a fucking student on Wall Street? This is real shit. Because I think in 40 years this voice is gonna be big, so I fucking hurt my P&L because I'm investing.
That's right. I'm totally. I'm totally with you.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, next day, Wall Street Journal's like, Vaynerchuk curses out fucking Goldman Sachs, should be off the board of I'd be fired within 43 seconds.
I have a reminder reading folder, which I look at every month or two with things in there I want to remember. And one of them is a Jeff Bezos letter right when they went public saying basically, don't buy this stock if you are looking for the stock to go up. Because I am not, I promise, running it. So I totally agree.
That's the counter to why I think I do want to go public.
But anyway.
And be like, do not buy a single share for next decade, and then I'm going to rise like a phoenix and kill all of you founders.
Well, anyway, so
nonetheless, Mark.
So my theory is
let's do a couple things.
Yes, sir.
Knowing that I want everybody who's listening right now to buy this book, who do you think this helps the most? And the book's out now?
Yes. Oh, tomorrow.
By the time we air it.
Tomorrow.
For watching it, but you can buy it pre-order.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm going to take
What's your gut tell you?
Slightly circuitous route by saying that everyone has heard that advice, follow your dreams.
Yes.
You know, everyone has this idea. They wake up. It doesn't need to be a business. It could be something they want to start, something they want to try.
The way they want to parent.
Absolutely.
I've been really
right.
hot on this. Like, there's a lot of stay-at-home parents, because I've been getting more into this space, who's like, you gave me the courage to homeschool. You gave me the courage to take my kid out of lacrosse. He's the only kid not in lacrosse in this high net worth, town. And it excites me. I'm like, wait a minute, this is as much like entrepreneurship as I thought it was. Have courage to do what you know is right.
That's who I think benefits most. Anybody who has these ideas and they're going, I want to do something, but fill in the blank. And I'm going, this is stop the but I crap. But it's not just, here's this step one, step two. It shows how that thinking works in building something for real.
How competitive are you in your own mind with your own self about the success of this book?
Oh, I'm a competitive motherfucker.
Like you're like looking at the rankings every minute. Like you're totally sucked into the
game. But not
right?
because this is
for the game of it.
Yeah, the game of it.
100%.
So I don't really. It's not going to change.
It's not the economics.
It's
I'm
not going to change my life
I've written
for a second.
5 New York Times bestselling
but
books. It's not the fucking economics.
Everything I do, I want to do really well.
I understand.
And
do you have a friend who's like a good friend who like you have this like fun like maybe she or he doesn't even know this, but you have this weird like I want to sell. You do, right? I fucking knew it. Give it to me.
I'm not going to tell you this one.
Okay, but at least go abstract with me.
Other people who've written books, and I'm like, and they're looking at the numbers and going, oh shit, I'm 6,000, and they're like 3,000. Motherfucker.
Okay.
So, but again, it's because, first of all, I'd never published a book before, okay? And I'm going, part of it is how cool is it writing the book, structures, learning about that. Then the other thing is, how do you learn how to sell a book?
Well,
and it's just
by the
digging
way,
in.
this is for my awesome publisher, at Harper, Little Brown. Like, I'm going to make a very simple blanket statement that I truly
I know
believe.
it's coming.
I know you know it's coming. How quickly did you learn that a publisher sells 0 books without your help? Quickly. Next.
On the advice of my counsel, I'm going to have to take the fifth on this one.
It is what it. And by the way, first-time authors get caught because you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it
is what it is.
All right, you kick me if you have to.
Yeah.
But it's like I go, why is the hardcover coming out before the paperback?
I don't.
Like, is that good for the
Mark,
reader?
This is not because I've completely run well over. This is because I don't want to have this conversation because I'm going to jump out the window. There's nothing that goes on in publishing that makes any fucking sense for 2019, especially when the framework is the one that you and I have.
Yeah, there is some irony on this business which overturned this whole established way of doing sequencing movies, and now I'm
Well, you know what's interesting about book form? People make fun of me a lot of times, like, Gary, you shit on all this stuff. Why do you write books? I'm like, because people read them.
Yeah.
I don't impose my way of learning on the world, and I understand that a lot of people learn in this format, by their desk at night, 4 nights, bang through it, on vacation, like. I have no passion. It's why I put out content on every platform.
Right.
I don't care if you want to listen to this podcast. I don't care if you're watching live right now on LinkedIn. I don't care if one of the cool snippets, I want that selling. I don't sell. If that becomes the gateway, like, I don't get to judge how one learns.
Yeah. Cool. Pretty cool.
Thanks for being on.
My pleasure. It's been really awesome.
Thank you. Pick up the book, guys. I have a funny feeling it's going to bring value.
No.
Thanks, Gary.
Such a pleasure.
Sorry, bro. Too busy to read. 100 posts to make a day, remember?
I always think about what I do for a living, which is I have this need for some reason to disproportionately overshare what's working for me quickly at scale.
Yeah.
And I think through the karma points, whatever, all this money I leave on the table plays out in perpetuity because I think I'm talented enough to grab it.
Yep.
And I also don't really have a model that's more on my audience. It's more I have separate companies. And it's funny, I didn't even think this. We were hanging out because Dustin is 12 minutes late with it. But if he didn't have an exploding stomach, so I was thinking about this. I wasn't thinking about this before, but literally as this has just started, the thing that came to my mind is one of the things I've always really respected about you, Marie, is that I really remember vividly that you were one of the first people I remembered. I'm like, oh, she's actually executing on what I'm saying. And every time I hang out with her, whether I come to some weird apartment in New York where her studio is, or if I see her in LA at her house, or randomly, she's thoughtful. She's thoughtfully like I think this was almost like a compliment to myself / to you. I'm being serious though. I feel it right now. I vividly remember thinking, I'm like, oh, she knows that I'm up to something.
Yeah.
She's listening.
Yeah.
But unlike 99.9%, she's then executing. And in a lot of ways, you would have had I never existed, you would be exactly where you are. But there has always been a little bit of a nice feeling in my stomach because I think you really listened and you executed.
Always. I mean, that's the thing. I have my head down more than anything else, and I love who you are. I love what you do. And somebody said this to me last night on my tour stop. They were like, you're really generous. And I'm like, I just give a fuck. I give lots of fucks and I care. And when people around me that I see are doing great work, I want to do everything I can to spread their message. So when your books came out or something new you were doing, and I said, hey, I have a platform. It might not be the same size or scale as yours, but it's different. And I want to expose people to great ideas that they can actually use to improve their business in life. And that's my goal in life.
Yep. And so for 3 minutes of context, because I want to do hardcore, I want to do two things. For you to tell the audience now about yourself, because some don't know.
Yep.
I want you to tell everybody about the book.
Yep.
Because one thing I'm proud of is, unlike me, who learns more in audio and visual, a lot of my audience learns from reading. And I think books are inexpensive for the ROI for people that learn that way. I will never read a book on the record, but everyone learns different. And then number 3, I want to go into questions. Once you frame up those two things, I want people to call in, put in your phone number, go to LinkedIn if you're not on there, if you want to ask a question, or keep watching on whatever stream you're watching right now, to put in your phone number and questions. Raghav is going through those as we speak, but I want the questions to be a little bit predicated on what you're about to frame up. So who are you, and then what's this book about?
Yeah, so for me, entrepreneur, author, and I like giving back. So I say philanthropist, not in the way that I'm Warren Buffett, but in the way that I like to use my resources, my platform, my financial resources to aim it towards things I feel that we should improve in this world in some small way. So I started off my journey on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. I have a lot of energy. I knew I could never sit behind the desk, but about 6 months into that job.
And what year was that?
That was like 1998.
And just knowing the culture of Wall Street to begin with, and then obviously America, thank God, starting to progress a little bit in boy-girl conversations.
Yep.
That must have been a real Baptist. I mean, I can't even imagine. The sheer amount of politically incorrect things that must have happened to you within the first week.
Oh, I mean, I was battling constantly. It was like, hey, do you want to hang out? It was, after work, strip clubs, Coke. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it.
I have long hair. I actually cut off all my hair to be exactly like yours because I tried to get taken more seriously. That's how much I was
have
battling.
empathy for that.
So I started hearing this voice inside that was like, Marie, you are not meant to do this. Outside of all that bullshit.
Yeah, because you knew what you were getting yourself into, and you could handle the boys club thing.
Totally.
You knew that.
I knew
there
that.
was other things going on.
Completely.
Yeah.
One of the things that was a clue was that a lot
Did you in some weird way see the advantage of that? Not meaning like the cliche thing that somebody might have just thought of, like you're using your girl power and that. More of because you could handle it and you understood it, you could professionally navigate it.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm tough, right? I'm very
Period.
sensitive, but I'm also very tough.
Yes.
And I want what I want. And whatever I need to do in order to achieve and grow and experience what I want to experience, I'm willing to do. So that was not a problem. But I also have a really strong sense of intuition. And when something's not right, my body revolts.
Yeah.
Literally on the floor of the exchange, because I had been ignoring this voice that like, Marie, you're not supposed to be here. This is not your life path. One day I walked into my job and I started having only what I can identify as like a little mini panic attack. Dizzy,
Anxiety.
feeling like shit.
Yeah.
I told my boss, hey, I need to go get some coffee. I made a beeline to the nearest church because I graduated from Seton Hall University. So I was kind of trained in a crisis to look up and ask for help.
Interesting.
So I'm sitting on the church steps, bawling my eyes out, feeling like the biggest loser because I'm the first in my family to go to college. My parents busted their ass to get me an education. They're high school educated. And here I am wanting to quit a stable job with health benefits and all this stuff.
Can I ask you a very important question?
Of
I'm sorry to
course.
interrupt like
No.
I always do. Were you a huge Terry DeHare fan?
I don't even know who that is.
I'm so pissed right now, Marie.
Okay.
I'm going very nerdy Seton Hall basketball of
Oh,
your era.
yes.
You clearly did not go
I
deep
didn't.
enough into the Pirates
I
from
didn't.
94 to 98.
Listen,
I'm very mad right now.
So here's what I was doing.
Give me
I
your
was
excuse.
bartending and waiting tables and fucking just being
Hustling.
like,
You were
yes,
focused.
I was.
But
I
you
was
did know
focused.
there was a good basketball
Of
program.
course I did.
Okay.
So I'm crying on the church steps, and I pull out my flip
Give her
phone
a
because
break.
that's what we had back then, and I
remember.
call my dad because
Good
I
job.
felt so guilty. I didn't want to disrespect my parents and quit this job when
Good
I
for
don't
you.
have any other way to make
Understood.
a living, and I was certainly not going to go back home. And my dad told me one of the most important things I've ever heard. He said, "Look, you've worked since you were 9 years old. I am not worried about you keeping a roof over your head or putting food on the table, but you are going to work for the next 40, 50 years at least. If you don't find something that you love so much, you're going to be miserable.
Good.
So quit this job, take as long as you need to find that thing that you feel you're meant to do, and it's all going to come together."
I love that.
So that permission slip for me sent me on an odyssey to figure out who the hell I was and what I was meant to do. All I knew was that I was highly creative and I also loved business, but those two things didn't seem to mesh back then. Like I originally wanted to be an animator for Disney or a fashion
understand.
designer. And I also loved, my dad was a small business owner. I loved the way he treated his customers. It was a printing business. I would go in weekends and nights to work with him and just loved his work ethic. That's what inspired me. So I tried magazine publishing. I was in Condé Nast Publications in the ad sales department. I was like, okay, this is new. This is amazing. 6 months in, those voices came back like, this is still not what you're meant to do. And I started panicking because I felt like a loser. I was like, I'm so ambitious. I want to make money. I want to make a difference, but I fucking hate what I'm doing. And I looked ahead and I said, do I want to actually be the publisher? Like, do I want to climb this corporate ladder? No. And I said, well, what am I wasting my time and their time for? I said, maybe I'm still too on the business side, numbers heavy. Let me try something more creative, like the editorial side. I hustled my way into getting a job as a fashion editorial assistant at Mademoiselle magazine. I'm like, this has got to be it. I'm going to fashion shows,
Yeah.
highly creative, working on photo shoots. This is going to be amazing.
Too
Cut
fluffy.
to 6 months
Too
in.
fluff.
That's exactly
Yeah, I
right.
get it.
And I was like, what? Now I really started
See
to
how I do
panic.
that, Raga?
Because every single one of my friends, they were getting raises, promotions, like starting an adult life. And here I was, like feeling like the biggest loser. I graduated the valedictorian, and yet I can't seem to hold down a job because I keep quitting. One day I was on the internet when I probably shouldn't have been, and I stumbled upon this new profession at the time. It was an article I read, and it was about coaching, which again, I'm 23. In my mind, I'm saying this is the cheesiest, dumbest thing
Sure, of
you've
course.
ever came across. Who the hell's going to hire a 23-year-old life coach?
Yep.
You're a loser. You've got mountains of debt. What are you
Yes.
thinking? And yet in my heart,
You're like, this is
something
it.
said, this is who you are. I signed up for a 3-year coach training program at night, did my studies at night, worked at Mademoiselle during the day. I get a call from the HR department. We have a promotion for you, going to Vogue. More money, more prestige, more everything. That was my fork in the road to say, okay, are you going to stay on this safe path with the health benefits? People understand what you do for a living. It's respectable, all that good shit. Or quit and start this weird coaching business at 23, which you have no idea how to do. You're mountains and mountains in debt, and nobody even understands what this is. So I quit my steady job. I went back to bartending and waiting tables, and I spent the next 7 years figuring out how to build a coaching business from the ground up. So that's a very long story.
How much were you worried about the stigma of the bad coaching environment?
Well, that didn't exist yet. Because
see.
I was in early.
see.
The only people that existed in the space were basically Tony Robbins.
Yep.
That was the only known figure at
Yep.
that time.
But there was stigma about, I mean, even that model.
Oh,
And could-
absolutely.
You know,
But that I kind of overrode that. What my
you
insecurity
just,
was.
you just were like, this is what I got to do.
Yeah, but I was also I was insecure about my age.
Yep.
But I had hit so many walls, failing on Wall Street, failing in publishing,
Yes.
trying all these different things that I was like, well, fuck it. If none of those things work, I have to try this because A, it feels right, and B, what are my other options?
Ray, just to jump way up to
Yes,
today.
yes.
There's something I've been thinking about this because I put a lot of pressure, in my opinion, of like my own concerns of the deep coaching and mastermind ecosystem.
I hate it.
How do you, has there, I don't know this because I feel like you'll have an answer for me.
Yeah.
Has there been conversations of the evolution of that where the most advanced and progressive and kind strategists and coaches and masterminds have talked about the notion of giving people money back and not letting people in. Like the only way to offset this model is to actually, so many people bottom feed and they know it.
Yes.
This is my problem. This is why I never wanted to monetize my audience. This is why I could probably build the biggest one and don't have it. Is because I don't want to put in the time to refund or vet. I don't think I'm good at vetting. I'm good at firing. But I'm not good at vetting. And I think the way that the coaching mastermind industry needs to evolve is not bottom feed. And I think 80% of the economics are built on that in the macro. Has there been any talk about that?
You know,
or is just or just not yet?
I don't know if it's been yet, but here's what I did for my own self, and maybe this can be instructive. So after I built skills as a coach, working with people one-on-one, which by the way, I did for free for so long because
That's how you win.
That's how you win. And listen, I bartended and waited tables to put a roof over my head so I could just deliver value to people and improve my ability to help them create change without any expectation
The
in return.
value of practice was there for you.
Correct.
I got it.
So here's my model now. I don't work with people one-on-one. I don't do masterminds. I don't do any of that shit. I love education though, because like books are a form of education,
Agree.
all that stuff. So the flagship program that we have, which is called B School, here's how I operate it because I hate all that shit. We have a refund policy that we've always had. If you actually go into the program and you show us that you've done the coursework in 2 weeks, if you hate it, you think we fucking suck, we give you 100% of your money
That's the
back.
way you hedged it.
Absolutely.
I get it. It makes sense to me.
And so I want to play with people who actually want to learn and want to apply.
Knowing that a lot of people know you for that, talk to me. Let's just skip over
Yeah.
that. Talk to me about what this book's about.
So everything is figure outable is a 3-word phrase that has been the single most powerful driving force in my life. Got me out of a toxic relationship in high school. Helped me get out of debt. Helped me get every job I've ever had. Helped me build the company I have today, which for me is my ideal company. I love what we do. It is a simple phrase that helps people ignite their innate wisdom and do anything they want to fucking do in this world.
And what about from a business standpoint? Is this, I don't know this.
Yeah.
Is this the first, third?
It's the second book. I wrote a book like over a decade ago that was honestly like a little
self-published or published by someone?
All 3. I started off as an ebook when nobody even knew what ebooks were. Like a PDF as a book was like mind blowing. Then I self-published it and I went to like Ann Arbor, Michigan. I didn't do vanity shit. I actually saved
in the first one, an ebook. Did you go the route that everybody got caught in back then, that it was super expensive, or
no?
It wasn't one of those.
It was $19.
Understood.
It was like that was my first experience actually, Gary, bartending. Like I went to a bartending shift. I worked my tail off downtown, and I came home, and somebody bought my ebook from Spain.
And you were pumped.
And I was like, I could make a difference to someone on the other side of the world that I've never met.
$19?
Yes.
No, really, that's awesome.
That was
so.
What
This
got
is
me
your
started.
second book. The first one was what?
The first one was called "Make Every Man Want You" or "Make Yours Want You More." How to be so irresistible you'll barely keep from dating yourself. It was funny. It's in 16 languages, but after I self-published it.
So this is really your coming out party your way.
In a big way.
Yeah.
So this baby.
And when did this come out?
This came out on Tuesday. We just got named Apple's one of their best books of September and their most recommended listen or download from the audio version.
Did you read?
Yes.
You did the reading.
Of course I did.
Did you go off script or you kept it straight?
You know, there's parts in there. I have a character named Jersey Marie because I'm from Jersey, and she gets real rough. And it's so
you
we
turned
go
into Jersey Marie.
Oh, of course, for the Jersey Marie parts.
Before we go into questions, we're about to.
Yeah.
2 State of the Union things that have your attention. In culture.
Okay.
It could be.
Yep.
Go.
2 State of the Union
Please.
things. I think people are starving for joy. Starving for joy. Like whenever I've done anything on social lately, which by the way, I just want to give a shout out to your team because I'm working with your team who's coming around with me on tour. We're having so much goddamn fun, and I've never
This
been
is the
able
document over create thing with the being talent people.
Yeah, but so I am naturally goofy in life. So
Yes.
yesterday I'm in Orlando. I'm dancing in the bookstore in the airport because that's how I really am. I am not performing.
Because you saw your book in there?
Yeah. And then I sold it to a woman saw me and she was like, "What's this book?" And I said, "It's an amazing book. You should get it." And she's like, "I will buy it right now." I'm like, hand to hand.
Did you tell her?
book sales.
Did you tell her that it was you?
Yes.
Because I've sold my book in Hudson News.
Yes.
Acting as if it wasn't me.
I need to try that on our next stop.
Because I feel like it's big. Because I love the merit of selling.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, if the person thinks it's me, they're gonna feel guilty to buy it.
Yep.
I have to see if I can sell this as a customer, like as just a human. It was pretty funny.
I'm gonna go
And the guy
incognito.
destroyed my name. He's like, "What kind of fucking name is that?" I'm like, "Oh man."
Yeah. So
I'm like, "He's super smart."
But you should get it. And did he get it?
Yeah, he did. Because I could sell anything. That's what I do well.
Well, I'll tell you this. The first time I walked into Barnes & Noble on Tuesday when it came out, and we did this amazing video, but this guy was like, totally didn't know what to make of me. And I'm like, you should get this book. And he's like, no, I don't need anything in my life. And I was like, all right, fine. I'll get the next one. Anyway, so I think people are starving for joy.
Understood.
Starving
Makes sense.
for like some example of exuberance.
I got it.
And I think the second thing, I think people have to still pay really close attention to how much they're consuming versus creating.
Understood.
So I give people a mantra: create before you consume.
Yep.
Social is amazing, all that stuff. There's a lot of info coming at us, but if people don't shift that ratio,
Wait. How about you do both at the same time? You know, I'll just throw that idea out to you fucking geniuses.
That's so obviously something I'm passionate about, which is what's led me to deeply spending a lot of time on parenting and insecurity.
Yep.
Because that's why people aren't creating.
Yep.
They're worried about how they look. They're worried about a comment. They're worried about so much.
which is bullshit. I mean,
You know
we're
what
going
I'm
to
worried
be, here's the
about?
thing I said on tour
You
the
not
other night. I was
giving me
like,
a
we're all
job.
going to be dead in 100 years or less. We're going to be powder.
Kids that are under 15 have scary numbers in their future.
In terms of longevity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm real pissed. If you're 14 right now, I'm super envious.
Yeah.
Because I think $150 is not out of the question.
I agree. I'm
Which
shooting for
sucks.
120 personally. What are you shooting for? For real? Is it
100? Because I think we're far, like
Yeah.
we don't get the full benefits of all the technology.
Wait, you're wrong. See, this is something that I've actually studied, and yeah, you might know how to make money, but biology and advanced technologies is what I've spent my past decade studying, because I wanted to know whether or not I would be immortal. You want to find out? I'll trade you a job. My knowledge for your knowledge. How about that, mate?
Technology and science advancements
Yeah.
at our we're not 25, you and I.
Yeah.
So like I think 120.
Yeah, but you don't get it, mate. Like stem cells, you just fucking. It's like reverse engineer the age. Like you're gonna have new cells. You'll literally be a baby. And that's not even the start of it. Wait until you can upgrade your own mind. A million years in 2 seconds. Like, you think you're smart now. You're just a pissing, shitting bag of meat. Wait until we're really good.
I just don't think there's enough time. Take away all the other things. But by the way, here's the good news. I failed all my science classes.
Yep.
I speak
Well, there you go.
with conviction on a lot of topics.
Yep.
I have no fucking idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
going on
don't.
pure intuition, random headlines, overhearing much smarter people about science talk than me.
Yeah, I'm looking at my genes too. And on my mom's side, like I was just with my grandmother. Man, she's a fireball. She's 92.
Yeah, see, I believe in genes, and
Yep.
with my genes, like I'm in trouble. Like my mom's side of the family, not so great, and like I'm that, and like I'm like, fuck. But I'm hoping resources. I hope I can do some weird like Walt Disney shit and like freeze myself and then come out in 30, 33 and be like, motherfuckers, I told you everything. I knew I was right.
Well,
it's all empathy, dick.
We're gonna come back with.
All right, let's do
everything is
calls. Let's do
figureoutable.
calls.
Let's do 'em.
Let's do calls. What's your favorite social platform right now? Like where you
Instagram. I'm having the fucking
and what,
best
anything
time.
emerging? Have you made the plunge into TikTok? How you think about LinkedIn?
I was actually
Anything
talking
Twitter.
like TikTok and I are just gonna get acquainted today.
Understood.
Tom and I. He was
Good.
like, I think there's so much on
I'm
there for
pushing
you.
it so hard internally, so I want to make sure everybody's.
How are you having fun with it? Are you just everything, just on it?
It's the only platform that has a chance to be the next Instagram, and so I take it seriously.
Yep.
It's got Vine DNA. Brittany, it's Gary Vaynerchuk. How are you on? You're on with Marie.
Oh my god. This is crazy. Holy shit. I'm amazing, and this is, I don't even know where to start. So I'm really trying to get into universal consciousness, and I am struggling.
I'm amazing, and I want to get into universal consciousness.
I'm trying to get into emotional intelligence, and I'm at a point now where I've quit my full-time job.
Okay.
I'm halfway through my savings, and I'm totally fine with, waitressing or doing that side hustle. I'm totally willing to humble myself.
Yep.
but I don't know, like, trying to assess my value. And I feel like I have value to bring. And I'm really reaching out to people and I'm willing to learn, and I'm just struggling with
You know what?
my value is.
My love, I'm going to interrupt you, and I'm so sorry for that, but I want to get to the answer because I know this so well. I would encourage you absolutely to get that friggin' job, because when you're busy and when you're hustling and you have that money coming in, you build confidence. And when you have confidence, you build all kinds of momentum. So you already bring value to the world by the fact that you're alive. Now you're just going to amplify that by doing your work and getting it out there in a bigger way. But I'll tell you, if you're halfway through your savings, you don't want to be dumb when it comes to your finances and when it comes to building a whole new career or a whole new business. So that's my own recommendation to you. I had side gigs for like 7 years before I was emotionally confident and financially confident to go all in on what I wanted to do. Plus, it was awesome. I met so many people. So that's my perspective on it. Gary, I don't know what you want to say.
I'm a buyer of that, Britt. I think the thing to really think about, and I completely agree with Marie, and you see the practicality in that answer. I think the thing that is also happening is and I think this is what we're both jumping on, the fact that you brought up within the first 10 words, I'm halfway through my savings, is already a tell for me. Like, I'm a good poker player in real life, not in actual poker. I already now know that that's in your subconscious. So you're not able to go all in because you've got this little thing going on in the back, which I love about you because you're being fully practical. You're not on some crystal's gonna come out of a UFO and go in my eye and I'm gonna solve the world.
Correct.
Like, you've got a good framework. I agree with Marie. I'm gonna say something else. This is gonna collide some of my worlds. I love the idea, and this may not be in you, but if it is, one of my favorite reasons of pushing people to flip sports cards, sneakers, thrift store, garage sale things is the following. The reason I'd rather you make $15 an hour buying t-shirts at a thrift store or buying something at the dollar store and selling it for $11 is because your biggest issue right now, potentially, is figuring out how to create a container for your value and then merchandise that container to make dollars, right? And what's amazing about flipping and eBay and all these secondary OfferUp and Etsy and Craigslist is you are required to figure out the audience. One of the things that people don't understand is how big of a difference in value. The reason you see auction prices all over the place is not just because of your rating on eBay. It's because how you wrote the headline, how you took the picture, and the words you put in it. Like, there's a very specific reason why I always sold things on eBay better than my friends and contemporaries is because I'm good at positioning things. And I feel like you practicing flipping stuff may actually help you figure out how to put yourself into a container and merchandise it. And that skill set you pick up, I think you double in.
The sales and marketing. Like, to get good at sales and marketing and anything,
You have to do it.
The only reason that I'm any good at what I do and I have any success is because I realized early on, Britt, that if I didn't get just as good at sales and marketing as I am at the craft of what I do, which is helping people create change, I'm fucking dead in the water.
100%.
Yes.
Or you're limiting your upside.
Completely.
You know, because a great product will find its way at some level. So, Britt, I think also you're going to a heady place, right?
Just hold on a sec. You said I had to do 100 posts a day.
It's crippling to think like I have value for the world. Like, what does that mean? So, two things. I definitely think you need to be making money on the side because it's very clear to me that that's an overlining issue. And number two, anything that helps you buy and sell, it is the number one skill set that 99% of my audience needs because you're always doing it in one way or another. Does that make sense?
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much this means to me.
Good luck.
Thanks,
Do something
Britt.
with it. Thank you. You know, it's funny, as Raghav goes to the next one, that buying and selling thing really resonates to me.
Yes.
Because even if you are resigned after 7 years, like, wait a minute, I'm not an entrepreneur. You're going to have to sell yourself to an employer. Like, everybody should practice that craft. Obviously, like singing and basketball and dancing, some can naturally do it.
Yep.
But if you can get better at it, which you can get better at anything.
Yes.
It's one of the best things to get good at.
And I think also copywriting. You mentioned
Yes.
writing headlines, everything.
Yes. Who's this? Franklin. Got it.
Hello there.
Franklin, you're on with Marie Forleo. How are you?
Hey, How's it going, man?
Really well. What can we help you with?
So basically, you answered most of my question with that last call, but what I was going to ask is, basically, should I pay somebody $5,000 to $10,000 to help me, set up my business model, or should I just keep pumping out content and trying to strategically place it places for it to, get me to where I'm trying to go?
I think we should tell you your business model here for free in the next 3 minutes. What are you selling?
Basically, personal development.
Got it. Are you personally developed?
I have been working on myself for the past 10 years, and
are you happy as fuck and fulfilled to the oomph?
Let's put it this way: I've made no more than $600 this year, and this has been the happiest I've ever been my entire life.
I love you already for that. Why?
Basically, what it really boils down to is because I'm actually living a fulfilling, purposeful life and not feeling, depressed and all the negative things. I'm actually on a mission now.
And
that's the difference.
what are the actions you've been doing that make you say that? What has been the actual tangible day-to-day life that makes you be able to say that?
I'm going to say the grind, just specifically, because every day I wake up and I feel, empowered to do something to get my message out there. And, past, I would have woke up and been like, another groggy day. But nowadays when I wake up, I'm, all right, let's get it. Let's go. And I'll stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, get 2 or 3 hours of sleep. And then after that, I'm ready to go again.
Okay, Franklin, I'm going to dive in here. First of all, congratulations on being happier than you've ever been in your life. But there's a couple things I want to poke in and say. One, you are not paying anyone $10,000 or $12,000 or $15,000 to help figure out your business model. That is number one. You just got to think, what is the problem that I am helping people solve, and how am I doing it? So, are you selling one-on-one coaching services? Are you going to sell a particular weekend experience where you're teaching people specific skills that help them solve a specific problem? You don't need to worry about any of this paying other people.
And let me jump in, Marie.
Yeah.
Or because a lot of people they like the idea of it, but they're not good at selling to other people, or like me, don't want to do that. Or are you going to start a brand like Life is Good? Do you have like a saying, and are you going to slap 50 t-shirts together with that saying, post it on Instagram, and God forbid, for some weird reason, it resonated and everybody bought it, and you might build an apparel business.
Correct.
There's a lot of ways to do this. You shouldn't do it Marie's way or my way. You should do it your way. Keep going.
Yeah, but absolutely. But we got to figure out what the business model is. You keep sharing your message. You keep doing that, but you got to do the work on your own to figure out what is the business that you're going to have the best chance of being successful at. Something that you're going to want to work mornings, noons, and nights and weekends to make successful. Like Gary said, it could be an apparel company. It could be something completely different. But you just got to keep doing you. But business is separate, I think, than just sharing a message out there. A lot of people want to quote unquote monetize a message. I'm not into that shit.
It doesn't exist.
It does not exist.
And you need that, how do you want, this is what I always ask people. My friend, Franklin, how do you want to make money? Tell me that if I was a genie from the fucking future, how would you like to make money?
I haven't actually thought of that question. I just more or less was looking at it from, as long as I'm helping people, that's more fulfilling.
Well, listen,
so that's
Franklin,
a bigger payment.
listen to me. That's 100% true.
Yes.
And if you're able, for whatever reason, to live on making $600 a year, then fucking you won. I just want to make sure that's the truth.
That's
maybe
right.
you inherited money. Maybe you made 10 trillion before you started this. Maybe you're willing to couch surf for the rest of your life. Through people's goodwill. I just need to know that it's sustainable.
Well, I would definitely rather be making a lot more money than $600 a year.
Why are you able to afford making $600 a year? Because I, as somebody who pushes eat shit, you're now challenging my shit Mendoza line because I don't think I was talking about $600 a year. That's even shittier than shit. Like, why are you? Did you save a lot of money? Are you a trust fund baby? Like, help me here.
How the fuck did you get into that
Basically, what
position,
had
son?
happened was me and my wife got a divorce last Thanksgiving, and ever since then, she took
No wonder you're
my
happy. Now I know why you're so happy.
Yeah.
And there's
Well,
nothing. I mean, honestly,
wow.
which is great. I'm not making fun of divorce, and that's not where I'm going. I'm just saying
It's
that might
hilarious.
be that might be why
a huge factor while you're waking
it
up
might
every
be.
day.
Keep
pumped
going,
up.
brother. I'm sorry to jump in. Go ahead.
You're good. And basically, we switched roles. She took my traveling position, and I'm now the stay-at-home parent all the time. So she pays the bills and gives me like $100 a week to feed the kids.
Good for you.
And
I mean,
that's how I've been surviving.
Have you? I mean, and the parenting is massively fulfilling to you, huh?
Yeah.
Good for you, brother. Man.
I feel
you
like
fucking won.
I was just about to say I'm with Gary. I
Hey, bro.
think you
Honestly, I
win.
apologize, Marie.
Yeah.
Bro, I think you should flip shit.
All right.
Do you know? Have you seen any of this content? Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know that I think that I want you to go to a thrift store right now, look up everything on eBay, buy something for $4, and sell it for $49?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried it?
I haven't, but
Are you willing to?
Yes, I was listening to you say something about it 2 or 3 days ago, and I was talking to this girl that is helping me. You know, I'm helping build her, and she's helping me grow also.
That's
And I was
such a
telling her,
weird
you know, this is probably one thing I'm gonna start doing.
Yes.
Is starting to flip.
Listen to me. Just make sure that everything is practical, and I think you'll be okay. I think you're in the starting phases of something good. Just make sure that ideology doesn't take over for execution. You have to do less what you're gonna do. Yes, less strategies, more doing. 4 days ago, you see flipping works. You needed to be in a thrift store or garage sale. You better garage sale this Saturday. Frankly, you better fucking garage sale tomorrow.
Deal.
Deal.
I can manage that.
All right, brother.
Sold.
Good luck.
Bye.
I kind of want to start a reality show on Franklin. I feel like that's how he'll actually make money.
He's amazing.
All right, let's do one more before this is all wrapped up, because because Dustin fucked up everything. We ran out of
Dustin.
time. Dustin.
What
Hey,
the fuck,
don't blame
Dustin?
anyone else, man.
This poor guy. He's like,
Dustin,
I just
you
had
cost
surgery,
Marie-
you guys.
Dustin, you have to buy like 4,000 copies of Marie's book because we lost like that amount of time, and so now you have to personally buy those.
Dustin, you're in for it. Everything is figure outable, brother. Figure it out.
How many?
Wow.
Hello?
Amanda, how are you?
Oh my God.
Yes, you did it.
Oh, wow.
Please say hello to Marie.
Hey, Gary. I love Marie. I was a B school grad 2 years ago.
Yes.
It changed my life. I made $50,000 in my first year consulting. It was a side gig.
Amazing.
And Gary, I listen to you every day. I can't believe this. I've
Who
chosen.
do you like better?
Oh,
Tell the
no.
truth. We're unemotional.
Honestly,
We're
I really have
unemotional.
no ego
We're
in this shit.
unemotional.
You're in the
I
Gary
gotta go with
Zufo.
Marie.
Fuck!
I gotta go with Marie.
You just got chopped, son.
I have to tell you,
Hey,
I
I didn't
did
expect
not
that.
knew that was
expect
happening. No,
that.
I
Did you?
definitely did.
Did
Dude,
you?
Yeah, here's why.
Why?
First of all, I hung up on her.
Okay.
Second of all, you had the tangible impact. You know, like that, like subconsciously you.
He hung up on
It's
her.
I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Like there's people who've loved somebody for 27 years.
Yeah.
They see one video of mine that makes them break up with their
Yes.
toxic boyfriend.
Yes.
And then that question's asked, and they're like, Gary, because it's you know.
No, I know,
And
but-
this goes to our whole theme.
Yes.
Execution, actual stuff, doing.
This is why I do what I do. It's actually for people like her. Like when
Yes.
people come through my program, and
Yes.
that's why I require that they do
Yes.
their fucking homework because of this.
100%.
Because when they actually take
Ex-
those actions, they
Marie,
get the
Marie,
results.
anybody who actually does what I'm telling them to do
Yes.
wins every time.
Every time.
Everybody who uses it to make them feel like they're doing something
Loses.
Loses. If they feel like they're consuming my content to make them feel like they're
It's okay, man. I'm just gonna listen to you until I'm standing next to you. I get it.
doing.
Yep.
Because I'm doing so much.
Yes.
They lose.
Yes.
Now, I don't mind. I'll be willing to be patient. My big fear, my biggest concern right now in my world
Yes.
is they watch me. I then, I occasionally do the post where it says, stop fucking watching me and go do.
Yep.
Never listen to me again and go do because I want them to win.
Absolutely.
They are not ready to do. So what they do is they unfollow me and what they do is they go to a spam version of me and consume that. So I'm trying to figure out my cadence with this because I'm trying to get them to do.
Yes. You know what? I have an idea for you.
Please.
So, hey, stop listening to you right now.
Yep.
Go
Come
do
back
this
for
fucking
100
step.
No.
And then, but can you reward them somehow? Can there be a contest?
Honestly, I don't necessarily even need them to come back because I'm not necessarily worried about that.
I know that.
I'm just scared that they go to the spam version.
But but we need to say that. And
Spam.
I
That I'm
just
saying
think,
more.
I
That's what
think
I'm
it's
saying right now.
fun.
It's meta.
I think it's super fun though to have people go and do some shit and then come back and fucking talk about it. You know why? So they can get addicted to the doing.
Do you know what I think is fun?
What?
What was her lovely name? Amanda.
Yes.
I think Amanda's dinner conversation in 3 weeks with her friends is going to be hilarious. She's going to be like, let me tell you what happened to me a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
I miraculously, through the hundreds, tens of thousands, let's not exaggerate, thousands of phone numbers, got through to Gary and Marie. I love them both so much.
Yes.
Gary asked me this random question.
Mm-hmm.
I thought going with the truth is always the right answer.
Yes.
Nope. Sometimes there's a different game in play. Gary hangs up with me, and never, ever do I have that chance to speak to both of them again. That's life. You're always learning, kids. Marie, thank you for being on the
shit,
show.
you guys.
Everybody,
Bye,
please
everyone.
buy the book. Amanda, I'm going to randomly call you in a couple weeks to make up for hanging up on you because that doesn't feel good with me, but it's a fun way to end the show.
Yes, wait, and do you want to do a giveaway for some fun fucking stickers like Jersey Marine, no more excuses?
I love you doing your thing. What
yes.
would you like?
So I want to give away at least 1 or 2 signed copies of Everything is Figureoutable, and here's why. Because I believe that for anyone watching or listening right now, if there's any piece of them that doesn't believe they have what it takes to do the thing that they want to do.
How would you like them to do that?
Actually, I'm going to leave this up to you guys because it's your platform.
So we will do a random. I have an idea. I've
Yeah.
got a lot of different ways. We're definitely giving one to Amanda.
Yes.
That's done. So can you personalize this one?
Will shirt.
And then we'll figure out another one.
And you can get some stickers too. So Everything is Figureoutable. Start before you're ready. Is it this camera or which one? Which one should I look at?
I love it.
Start before you're ready. There's
Go.
Jersey
Go.
Marie. No more bullshit excuses. That's fun. And it's a Tropicana orange because this is the thing that my mom is her most prized possession in Jersey. She got it for free. And it was the thing that she fixed that got me this idea. It was awesome.
I love it. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for
Thanks for
having me.
everybody listening. Awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll make
the Jets, my core marketing strategy to win the tri-state area is on every single person's 6th birthday, I'm going to send them a Jets jersey and personalized messages. I think you should start sending 6-year-olds jerseys in San Antonio and Dallas of Rocket players.
See, why in the hell did you tell me this on air so I couldn't have said that I'm the smart motherfucker that came up with this?
You know why?
Let me be smart, please.
Tillman, this is the greatest strategy I came up with. Because I have good ideas and because I can't execute all of them, I put them out for free so that I can own the IP.
Interesting.
Right?
Interesting. 100%.
It's right? Think about all the smart shit. Like just getting a sense of you right now. By the way, I'm going to say this publicly. I'm not joking. I don't usually, I had no clue you owned that or how, I don't know much about a lot of stuff. I just spend 100% of my time on the consumer. I just don't know a lot of stuff. I just know what customers are doing at all times.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know much of other stuff. That takes a lot of time. So this gets booked through email. Matt put us together, but I know of you, of course. And over the last week, I've been with some fancy different people, just like movers and shakers. The reason I was so excited to come in here today is I basically live my life for people to talk about me behind my back the way the 4 people that I spoke to in the last week about you talked about you.
Yeah, right.
That is interesting. I don't know if it was good or bad.
It was very good. It was very good. No, it was very good because what is interesting is I'm always fascinated by people that actually know people versus knowing of them.
Interesting.
My big game in life, there's plenty of people with the way I roll, the cursing, the bravado, the confidence, the conviction, especially if I'm putting pressure on your business, you're not going to love me. But I care about what the people that actually know me say about me. And in that group, a couple of them really know you and are also very, very close to me. So they're not going to bullshit me. It's really cool. I like that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
I like that. Anyway.
So keep going.
Well, why'd you write the book?
It's really interesting. About 18 months ago, HarperCollins
my publisher
called me and said, hey, and we watch your television show, $1 Billion Buyer. We see you on all the business shows, and you always had these Tillmanisms and these one-liners, and we've read all these articles about you, how you say, oh, I can see a burnout light bulb at one of my restaurants from 40,000 feet. And they said, we'd like you to write a book. Well, I always thought somebody would say, we want you to write a life story book. And I said, I can't do that until I'm older because I'm still doing deals and I want to rip some people's ass. Okay. Yep. So they said, no, we want you
Do
to.
you garage sale?
Sir?
Do you ever garage sale? Do you roll up on a garage sale and try to buy something for $1?
Not in a.
That's Zara for you, right?
Zara is my garage
sale.
Yeah.
But did you?
Absolutely. When I was younger.
I apologize for interrupting, but you said rip somebody's ass, and I'm like, listen, like the happy. I'll give you a story. I was at the National Sports Card Convention. I got to talk to you about basketball cards before we leave. Like, I see a humongous arbitrage in sports cards, and you need to go all in. I'm being dead serious. I'm being dead serious with you, on the record. I was at the National Sports Card Convention in Chicago in late July this year. I walked over to some guy's table, bought a Wayne Gretzky rookie card, not in great condition, for $220. I brought it back to my table, priced it at $260. An hour later, somebody came over and bought it for $260. I swear on everything, that $40 ARB meant more to me than all $50 trillion deals I make every day.
Absolutely, because that's what we do. That's
what
like
we
me
fucking do.
making the deal at Zara for all these
Yep.
jackets on a closeout.
That's why I asked you about garage sales. So anyway, the reason you don't want to write a book is you still got a couple moves in you, and you don't want to put it out there because that's how you're gonna fucking do it.
But so they just wanted it in a silo and say, talk about how you made it. What were your philosophies, all your Tillmanisms, and the 95-5 rule. There
What's
are no
that?
spare. 95% of everything we do is right every day in business. But look for the 5% you do wrong, and that's what makes you better than everybody
Interesting.
else. There are no spare customers, okay? It's a competitive world in every one of our businesses. Take no out of your damn vocabulary. You're on a business trip, and it's 11:02. You hang up the phone and on a call, and you call down to order some breakfast, and they say, I'm sorry, sir, we don't serve breakfast anymore. I say, that's okay, no problem. I don't need a waffle or an eggs Benedict. Just throw a couple eggs in a skillet and send them up scrambled, however it's easy for you to do. I'm sorry, sir, we don't serve breakfast. Why are you telling me no? I didn't ask you for anything special. You're going to throw a burger in the pan. Just throw me a couple of eggs and take care of me. B, you're in the hospitality business, okay? And you're telling me no. And everybody's in the hospitality business no matter what they do. You take care of your customer, okay? You take care of your customer. It's no different than we walk in and your people meet us polite. You put a welcome up on the screen. You come in here, everybody can I get you some water? Tell me, can I do this for you? You're in the service business.
Everybody
so why
is.
do you want to be an ass and say no to somebody when it's just as easy to say yes or you just give an alternative?
Because the company's being run by somebody who's not. Because these companies get big and they hire somebody who fucking went to Harvard and fucking worked at Bain and McKinsey and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That's why, Tillman.
I love my McKinsey consultants when I see them. I just love them. It's so funny you said that because I have in this book, consultants will consult your ass right out of business.
100%.
Okay? And I don't hire consultants.
You know why? Because they've never fucking done anything.
Unless I need a report or
That's
something,
like me
and I
telling-
tell them what I want them to say.
That's like me
when I
telling
walk
Russell
in.
Westbrook what to fucking do.
100%.
Stupid. I watch a lot of basketball. I've got ideas. It's fucking stupid.
Because you know what you know and what you don't know.
It's unbelievable. It's why I love athletes. When you really get to know them, it's really fascinating how they talk about fans. They've got whatever variable, no matter how you take it, pro and con. If you melt every athlete, what they really say when they talk about fans is they just don't know. Whether they say they're assholes or whether they love them, they just understand that they have no fucking idea. They have no context. It's actually my favorite thing that's going on in Earth right now. We live in a judgment society. Because of social and everybody has a voice, and because the way we've always been judgmental. That's how humans are. Small little town, somebody said, oh, Ruth's borscht is not as good. Like, we've always been judgmental, right? But now we can see the physical manifestation of it. But the reality is people are judging people left and right without knowing anything about the truth. Nobody knows you.
Nobody. And that's why when I have a good friends that'll say to me, I was over here and I was at a bar and they were trashing your ass. And I'll say to them, well, do you know Tillman Fertitta? No, but that's what I heard, because people don't like people on top, okay? And you're on top, I'm on top. And I do think people though are getting a little nicer though. I think people now seem to respect you or whatever.
We have macro anxiety in the ecosystem, and eventually that becomes tiring, and people go like, the world just ebbs and flows. It's not super complicated, you know. Tell me, so what was the breakthrough? So I like the story because I want to go back because I like learning from storytelling, and you're doing a great job at it. You don't have to pay back for an extra $5. That gives you ammo. What was you have all these great brands. So I'm really excited to dig in here a little bit because, by the way, my entire company, which we're a global marketing company, 1,000 people, big business, it's all a front. I'm building all this infrastructure to do what you and I do at scale, which is when the economy collapses, I'm going to buy historic brands and refurbish them.
And that's what I do. And I was the first person out there to start a platform and saying, like, let me give you an example. So I go public in 1993.
With what?
With 10 restaurants.
Which ones?
Landry Seafood House. I'm making $6 million a year in EBITDA, and all of a sudden you wake up and you're on the NASDAQ and you're worth $100 million. Right. So over the next few years, I build restaurants, and then then we hit a dip in the late 90s.
Why?
The tech dip. Okay.
You mean the market?
The market did, and so all of a
your
sudden,
stock price went down.
Yes,
I understand.
but at the same time,
was your business healthy though?
Just my business was healthy, and you know this. What your stock does and the
has
health
nothing
have
to do.
nothing to do with each other. You know, like, Cisco missed their numbers.
Tell me, wait a minute. This is actually completely You were a public CEO?
Yes, for 18 years.
How the fuck did you deal with that shit?
Because I performed, and
you told them to go fuck themselves.
And
you had to a little bit. You're right. You had to tell these people on the earning call who would like try to ticky tack you on some bullshit. And
the longer I got and the richer I got, I put up with less. Okay, but I can remember. But you got to
leverage is a funny thing.
No, but it's interesting because.
And why you had a board that like was all in on you?
Let me
please.
First off, when I took it public, I owned 100%.
Okay.
Okay.
That's an easy way to start.
So it was my board.
It was you.
It was my. I had a board, but it was my board.
It was you.
And if you keep over 50%, you only have to have an outside audit committee. You don't even have to have an outside board, so you don't have to have a compensation committee and all that.
I understand.
Okay, so I basically controlled the company for many years, but I grew it from a $30 million company to when I took it private, being an opportunist. You know, X amount of years later, to a multi-billion-dollar company. But we got off track somewhere. But what happened is,
don't worry, it's not the first time in this conversation.
I realized that I could go buy somebody and get rid of their G&A and bring them to Houston and keep the store operations, but not have all that overhead. And so over the next 20 years, what I did was, and I can tell you every city that I shut down somebody, from Portland, McCormick and Schmick to Chicago, Chart House's home offices were there, and Martin's home offices were there. In Laguna Beach, it was Bubba Gump and Claim Jumper. And I can just go from city to city. Minneapolis, it was Ocean Air and Rainforest. So I bought all these companies, and I just shut their office down and consolidate in Houston and save millions and millions and millions on G&A. And so I built this platform, and I bought all these companies right and rejuvenated them if they needed it. Some of them weren't even screwed up. They were just screwed up public companies, but I bought Rainforest for $75 million, and it was making $30 million a year and had $15 million in the bank, but their stock had fallen because their growth slowed down. But it was a great company to buy. And back then, everybody else was scared. Private equity hadn't gotten into consumer businesses yet. And people that are strategics wouldn't buy them because, well, I'm a CEO. They might fire my ass if I screw up. Well, I said, fuck this. I'll go buy the world. And took my net worth from a few $100 million to billions.
Yep. Then what happened?
Buying stuff. Better keep going, motherfucker. Okay.
So you built that up, and
then in 10, well, a lot of them happened after 10, okay? But in 08 and 09, when the crisis and every stock went down, I went back and bought 100% of my company again.
Yep.
And today,
because you were liquid enough?
I was liquid enough and knew how to financially engineer it.
That's it.
And today, it's probably truly the single largest one shareholder company in America. You know, everybody's got a 1% partner or this or that. It is 100% me and my family, and $4 billion in revenue, $700 million in EBITDA.
It's fucking amazing.
So it's been a good ride.
Have you been paying attention? have you been paying? So you're still actively running it?
Fuck yeah. Who
So
else
have
is
you-
going to run
well,
it?
I don't know. I mean, you said 8. Yeah. Oh, you said yes. 18 years. You took it private.
Yeah,
which is why
and
you're
then
not-
I'm still
Listen, I
running
don't know shit about you.
Obviously
I mean, I know
not.
you're
Well,
fucking.
You better go read my fucking
I don't
book.
read shit. Did you look at my fucking report card? Tillman, talk to me about this. Are you paying attention to the disruption, that potential? This is something that's probably on your radar, especially the video game. By the way, at some point we'll have dinner. I can feel it already, and I really, really need you to tell me the war stories about the video game
I will
thing
tell you that.
I
All them quarters in my
I
pocket.
love that shit. But are you paying attention to these, virtual kitchens? Are you? Because I'm very fast. This is early for me. You're much deeper expertise. But I think fast casual and QSR have a looming potential concern, very similar to the way I felt about retail 10 years ago around these virtual kitchens and people building brands on top of that infrastructure and actually just being marketing companies and doing last mile delivery at scale in a decade. Is this on your mind?
I see all of it and I think about all of it, but food to me is still a personal thing, and I just don't think you're
Personal as in you'll go somewhere?
No, yes, and how you eat it and who prepared it or whatever. So I don't know that the virtual kitchen is it going to ever work?
So you're saying from maybe from a fast food drive-in infrastructure that will disrupt it because that's a mobile play, but things that go a little bit higher up where you're actually going to
People are going to always like it if it helps you quicker. Technology
Yeah. Speed
makes it
wins.
Speed
Speed
wins.
wins.
Okay, but I still think that you still want to touch and feel at the same time. It'll be
Touch and-
interesting.
Hold on, let's keep playing this because I'm fascinated by your take. Touch and feel is in like I have to
Talk
go to
into-
the place.
Go to the place.
That I
talk
believe.
about it.
That I believe. But I think on the
and you s-
delivery front, it's going to be a fascinating debate.
There is a delivery issue though, and this is the problem. You've got all the home delivery companies.
They're all underwater.
They're all underwater.
All of them.
I invested in one,
Yeah, they're all
and I'm
underwater.
underwater. Okay.
Yeah,
Matter
they're
of
all
fact, I'm
underwater.
drowning. So,
You
matter of fact,
fucking
no,
drowned.
no.
You
I,
fucking- you're
no,
actually
I
dead.
wasn't drowning. I drowned.
Yeah, you're dead. We went to the funeral. It was amazing.
Okay, but because the problem is that it's expensive because of labor costs today and fuel costs and everything else. And then the delivery companies want a 20% discount at least, or a little more, a little less. The restaurants don't make any money then because that's our margin.
Yep.
Okay, so they're not happy. We're not happy. So I really don't know where it's going, if you want to know the truth.
That I agree with because that infrastructure the drivers aren't winning, the restaurants aren't winning, the platforms are not winning. That's dead. I think that the next step that's being built quietly right now, which is the infrastructure to make the food at scale within a 1 mile radius of an enormous percentage of our society, is going to be a totally different game.
I will totally, once again, we all come up with great ideas,
Yeah.
and this is going to work.
Yeah.
Blue Apron, people are going to never go out to dinner again. They're going to
Let me
fix
ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do you? This is just a fun thing because in 10 years we'll watch this video and we'll get a kick because by the way, what I know about you because I'm listening for
Compared to
sure
what you will be.
is 99% of people don't play the way we play because they're scared to lose.
No fear.
I
have
love
no fear.
losing.
And
I mean it. I actually mean it. Because that means I fucked up. I deserve it. I deserve it. I never blame anything else. I did something. I did something.
blame shit all the time.
Full fucking accountability. Nonetheless, do you believe? Let me rephrase it. Do you agree with this statement? Because I think you may not, which is amazing. I believe that in a decade there will be a restaurant that looks like Shake Shack, that looks like Chick-fil-A, that looks like Fast or QSR, that actually has no locations, but is a $1 billion enterprise in sales of their product on the framework of these kitchens at scale around the world. True or false?
possibly could happen.
That's not an answer. True or false?
False.
Awesome. Now we have a fun dinner in 10 years.
No, because
now we have a fun dinner.
No, because
That's okay.
I have so many brands.
I gotta go. I gotta go.
I have so many brands in Houston. I've thought about building just one kitchen and let everything go out of there.
I get it.
Okay, but then your delivery pie is only going to be so big.
Yeah, unless you hit infrastructure at scale. Listen, I gotta run because I have a public appearance, but I'm fucking pissed because we haven't even started.
He's always pissed.
So we need to hack this. You're how often are you in Houston? Always?
Oh, ja. Ja, bis But
kinship. I'm really excited to have Chase Jarvis on the show. He has a new book coming out. I really feel like I'm becoming the new kind of like Today Show. Like I got hit up 3 times today by people who I had really great like acquaintances, subtle relationships with back in early Twitter, 09, 10, 11.
Yep.
I think the word has gotten on the street that being on this podcast sells a shitload of books, so that makes me happy. Chase has a new book. He's a friend. He's an entrepreneur. He's a creator. But what have I left out, Chase, for the people that don't know who you are?
No, you're crushing it. Just lifelong photographer, probably that photography into starting Creative Live, Greylock Back Company, 10 years in the biz, and we got more than 10 million people using the platform. It's a place to go to learn creativity, entrepreneurship from the world's top experts, people like Branson, Tim Ferriss, Brené Brown, friends of ours. Yeah.
I remember when you and I did a event at a Javits Center.
OG. God damn it. Lol. Oh, you calling yourself artists? That's so sweet. Are you serious, guy? Fucking. No. People can't be creative. They can only do stick figures. Hmm. Fucking oath. You're pretty good. What? No. No. What's happened is you said I have to do 100 posts a day. That's all we're doing. All this creative. Whatever, cunt. You're not creative. Fucking sit in a bland room, fucking speaking into microphones. But this one edit has more creativity in it than your entire rest of the year. Am I wrong? Not a bad thing. But like, and you know, I'm a fucking property analyst as well. Like, I can just buy and sell properties like that. I'm a fucking real estate agent. You're a creative. Like, I'm a bird. Suppose if it helps you get somewhere. But it just seems a bit redundant considering what you've actually accomplished already. Seems a bit fairy tale. No offense. Definitely agree with that. Fucking oath. Well, so we've done this. Yeah. And I'm almost broke. That. Uh-huh. What did you say? Hold on. Sometimes he's a bit too advanced, like, you can see that he's like, how can I dumb this down? The quantum state of the field fluctuation. Love him. This is him trying to be basic. Hmm. This is branding. You want to buy this hat? That's marketing.
Backwards. It's like you're going to go be a banker because your parents told you so. You need to look at like, what do you want to do? And the market, all the little SEO, all those little nuts and bolts, it's great. If you're literally living your life by the data exclusively, then you're going to look like everybody else. You're going to be fighting for the same search terms. And how are you going to stand out? The only way you can actually stand out is by being unapologetically, no questions asked, you. And my friend, Cam.
Is it even blended into the creative? The reason people continue to post the same photos of their TNA or of their abs or of a beautiful place they went into is they know that the likes are going to be there. And it's limited the creativity on the creativity part.
Yeah.
Not even on the quant. It started in digital marketing on the titles, the math.
Yeah.
But it's subconsciously has blended into the art itself, where people right now are posting on Instagram things they have no passion about, but they know it will do well.
Quote, do well. Because that do well
Correct.
Do well
Correct.
is a very...
But do well to the way he framed up his first two things out of his mouth.
100%.
I don't, those don't come out of my mouth as a marketer.
Which is interesting. If they take likes away, the world's going to get a hell of a lot more creative.
I'm pushing.
It's going to blow up.
And let me rephrase. I'm pushing something that I didn't think of.
Yeah.
Kudos to them to testing it in Australia and Canada. I got wind of that. I'm like, this is fucking...
Yeah.
I was on the make new shit, but I was trying to encourage people to be brave. Instagram...
I only make new shit. Like, why don't you just do that? Doesn't it seems a bit...
Instagram's doing it for you.
Yeah.
Everyone's mad at the algorithm. They're starting to learn how the algorithm actually works. They watch human behavior.
Yeah.
By the way, Instagram's taking away the likes, not for their health.
Right.
They're doing it because they observed in data what I observed as what I do for a living, that people were starting to limit creativity.
Yeah. Hey,
Anand, do you understand? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Anand, you feel like you're understanding what we're putting down here? You feel like you're getting your question answered?
I am, yeah, definitely. I think it's a struggle between, there's that conflict between this is what I want to put out into the world. I want to share my journey, which is, I'm a marketer and new entrepreneur, and I was able to quit my 9-to-5 job finally after working for, on the side hustle for the last 5 years.
I love that.
Now I want to show people how I did it.
Yep. That's your ticket right there, man. Because you know what? That's your story. Unapologetically, no
Period.
questions
Couldn't
asked.
be a bigger buyer.
If you're trying to talk about marketing, there's a bazillion people talking about marketing. There's only one you. You've got your DNA. You have your experience. That's the only way you can stand out, my man. You cannot stand out and fit in at the same time. And you're only going to get there by being you.
Anand, what I would tell you is this is why I push patience so much. There'd be absolutely no conflict if you actually were willing to wait.
Do you?
Does that make sense, Anand? Do you see where I'm going with that? There's a conflict when you're looking for short-term ROI on vanity metrics.
That's right.
I know. No, I'm really proud of you. Like, I like the way this is going. You see where I'm going? What people may not understand yet about what I'm doing is the reason I have 7 to 11 things I'm standing on is you need them all. You need all those ingredients to properly cook the meal. The second you take away patience and you buy into everything else I'm saying, you're vulnerable. The second you take away work ethic because you don't think hustle's cool anymore, you're vulnerable. The second you take away empathy, you're vulnerable. What I'm putting down based on what works for me and others, and I try to remind people that as I observe them, is the ability to have all the ingredients there, because once you take one out, the vulnerability comes. Hearing you, who's been listening, and I can see what you're putting down, by you quantifying what we've just been talking about and adding that patience element immediately eliminates the friction for short-term metrics.
Yeah.
Why do you think I started with 80,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel or whatever it was when D-Rock and I started 4 years ago, 5 years ago? Even though I was the OG of OGs there, I went to Vidler. I never paid attention to it. I never asked for one time on those 1,000 episodes of Wine Library TV to subscribe. I did nothing right because I was in it at that point for 50 years.
You got this, man. You got this.
So if I was to ask you, my platform of choice is YouTube. I just love the platform, and I feel like I can create my best content on YouTube. So what would you suggest? I have about 850 subscribers right now, but I really want to reach more people. What would you suggest I do in terms of how much content?
How much content are you putting out?
Right now, about 1 to 2 videos a week.
How many? Let me ask you something. Have you heard the thing "fake it till you make it"?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
I have heard.
Okay, just put that shit on the shelf. You need to make it till you make it. Okay.
You need to be putting content out there. You need to be unapologetically you, be making stuff every day that is authentic to you, that resonates with your audience and tells your story. And until you start doing that, you're going to be stuck. And when you start doing that, two things are going to happen. One, you're going to have a bunch of energy because you're going to finally be not doing what your mother, your brother, your friends, all these other people are telling you to do. And then two, the world's going to come help you because they can sense that stuff. They can smell it when you are doing you. That's what when you just like stepped on the scene, boom, it's like this guy, no questions asked, he's doing him. And that is really sexy. I mean, sexy is like,
No,
Yeah.
no, you actually mean it the actual way.
Yeah.
That was an attractive man that hit them scene.
Vidler,
Anand,
that dude is an attractive man on Vidler there in 2006.
Listen, Anand, I think the biggest thing here is you're going to have to get out of a framework where your opening question starts with, I have 850 subscribers and I want more. That sentence is death.
What story do you want to tell? What story do you want to tell?
Listen to me. I'm in a very interesting zone post vacation. August, I could feel it, like a lot more angles. I'm about to tell you something else. Why do you think I put document on a pedestal and try to get you to make the ROI, the fact that your grandkids are going to see it? Is because I actually think everything everyone's doing now, when they're older, I predict 98% of the people on earth that create content right now at scale, which is everyone, by the way, at some level, that the best thing that happens from it, this is now 98%, this is a guess, arbitrary, but this is how I feel, this is the number I'm putting on it, that the best thing that happens is not they quit their shitty job and start a huge company, it's not a viral moment, it's not anything else than in 54 years, their granddaughter's gonna come up to them and say, Nana, I'm just like you. In 2021, you said this, and that's how I think too. That sentence, because that's who you're gonna be at 90. Yeah. That's what you're gonna care about, your family. And so the reason I try to put that on pedestal and get people to understand how valuable that is now all of a sudden, Anand, if that's why you're making content, what do you want your grandkids to see? What do you want the world to know about you? Not, hey, I'm obsessed with Mr. Beast. I think he's so talented in understanding. Like, one of the few things that does not come natural to me because it doesn't have day in, day out community and reading comment. It never was that. It wasn't an app for the first 8 years, YouTube. So I have so much respect for that. But if you talk to somebody like that, it's still going to be the story inside. It can give you a little bit. Brother, any hack that gets you from 850 to 1730 to 17,000, it's a minor league move. Yeah. The thing that actually gets you there is the fucking content.
Totally. And I'm gonna throw something. You talk about document, don't create, and I'm gonna just put a little twist on that because it's all creating, and why I believe, and you tell me if I'm putting words in your mouth that you don't believe, is that what you're really doing when you're saying document, don't create, is you're trying to take the anxiety 100%. Out of creating. Because now you're going like, I need to create. Yeah, I need to create something really special.
It is creating. No, you got it. You nailed it. You want to hear the best part of that whole little thing? The only thing I consume is documentaries. Yeah. Not that that's exactly but it was funny when you said that. That's exactly. I'm trying to eliminate
the barrier.
The barriers.
Totally.
Which is what got me to the fluffy shit that I'm not necessarily all. Listen.
Totally, but that's what I'm trying to do here. Is like I'm trying to take the barriers away from creating, and I'm saying like you have this engine inside of you right now. You're trying to calculate. Stop 100%. Calculating. The shit's not out there. It's in here, man, and you've got it. I just want you to start.
Math
doing
fucks you up.
Yep.
Unless you're not a retard.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely say I'm very paralyzed by just overthinking things instead of just creating content.
Of course,
because you're putting metrics as the North Star. Anybody who's putting metrics, follow count, likes, and data as the North Star are inherently stuck creatively.
Yeah.
Whoa. Hold on a second here. You told me, you said that I had to make 100 posts a day. You just contradicted yourself because you told me to do data. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, still.
Overlay or anxiety and insecurity of judgment, which is the comments, and you're fucked, which is why 99.99999% of people are not winning.
Here's another thing, man. I can tell just from how you're asking. You want a map. You want a dot. You are here. You want dot, 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 and you want a red X. This is where you're going. You want to be able to see the whole picture. I'm telling you, you've been sold maps. They don't exist. They're not real. All you have is a compass, brother. You have a compass, and it says, if you're listening to what's actually in here, this compass says go north. And as soon as you go north, that starts feeling right. It starts feeling good because we don't have these maps. We have intuition. We have what our soul is telling us to do, who we are. That's why he says document, not create, because that's about you. And that's what you need to be doing right now, not trying to follow someone else's map.
And for everybody following along, what Chase's analogy was awesome. He's not talking about a compass and holding it in your hand. When he was saying that, I was like, oh yeah? I'm gonna throw the fucking compass in the sea, blindfold my fucking self, and walk through the fucking jungle. And if you think a panther's gonna get me, you're wrong.
Because the compass is inside.
100%.
You got that?
And I'll punch a fucking panther in the face.
Anon, you got that?
Anon, punch panthers in the face. Hung up next. And if you didn't follow that analogy, here's what I mean. There's always going to be big bad things in your way. The reality is like, I don't know if a panther probably killed you, but I've always been fascinated by the hacks. You know, one of the best memes going on in culture right now is people showing people how things are made. Like that cashew thing the other day blew everyone's mind, blew my mind. I'm like, that's what a fucking cashew looks like?
I would have been living under a rock. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there was a thing that kind of went viral a couple days ago that just showed pictures. Do you know what cashews look like when they're being grown? They like come out of this fucking apple thing. Like I was like, what the fuck?
Right,
like there's a lot of this shit going on. I've always been fascinated by the things they tell you to do. Like, aren't you supposed to?
So funny how it's like, oh, you're being a retard over this. Okay.
Are you supposed to punch are you supposed to not? What are the hacks for like a bear or a lot? There's all these weird hacks, right? Like,
yeah,
don't
when you're
move
supposed
for
to
a
play
bear.
dead. Then
Look,
you're
that's a
supposed
cashew.
to,
Chase, look at this.
Yeah, I did see that. I didn't click on it, but I was like, okay, I get it.
Sanan, right? That's fucking crazy. Cashews are weird as shit.
Hello, this is Alex.
Alec or Alex? Alex, what's up, man? It's Gary V. You're on with Chase Jarvis.
Hey.
Hey, Chase. I had a question for you about the creative muscle because I heard you talking with Tyler Babbitt.
Yeah, creative muscle.
I was wondering if you should give that like a break or if you should just keep pushing harder.
Well, how do you build muscles in real life, man?
Well, you just keep going at it, but they get sore, you know?
Yeah, they do. They do get sore, and then what happens the next day? You're a little bit stronger, right?
That's true.
If you could live in, I mean, there's little bits of rest. I get it, but
no, actually, that's the right analogy. Actually, I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
I actually do think there's a lot of data that says a rest day matters.
For sure.
And I think where you're going, Alex, and where you're going, Chase, you're both saying the same thing. What Chase is saying is 1 day of rest.
Yeah.
Like go see your aunt.
Yep.
You know, go snowboarding. Go watch Netflix for 8 hours, but not 1 month.
Totally.
But not 1 year.
Watch some great YouTubers, right?
You see where I'm going, Alex?
Yeah, great YouTubers. They're putting content out every day, and they do that for a year, and they're like, oh my God, I'm super crazy burned out. They take a couple of days. I advocate just a little bit here and there and just keep going. I'd rather
100%
learn how to rest just a little bit than to quit.
No, this is exactly, it's the exact analogy.
Yeah,
you're
you're building
come
muscle.
back stronger from it.
What's that, brother?
You just come back stronger from it.
Yeah, of course you do. And that's like, this is not some weird new science that I'm preaching. This is like practical as hell. That's the thing about creativity. People, we think it's like naive. No, it's literally, it's we are creating machines. Everything in the world, everything in this room, all your thoughts are all created.
Chase.
And so you might as well get good at creating.
Chase.
Yes, sir.
Totally.
Everything we think, humans have been around for so long. Everything. We do not have a singular new idea. We didn't get lucky enough to be born first.
Nope.
Everything just wasn't documented.
You
a couple people broke through.
Hey,
yeah, and so that's why I'm just working on putting out my content and then getting my podcast started. So I just been putting
By the way,
out as
Alex,
much
real
as I
quick,
can.
my favorite word in order getting started makes me smile always. Post it tomorrow. Start it.
Keep doing it.
Yeah, just make it. Like, everyone's like, I'm about to get my podcast started. What?
Exactly.
Dude, there's something called Anchor. Fucking put it out tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's why I just got all my equipment. I'm getting my graphics done.
Sorry, I gotta call you out, man. Gotta call you out.
Fuck the
Do you have a phone? Are you talking on a phone right now?
Yeah.
You
That's
have
your equipment, bro.
You have all your equipment, right?
Period. Don't be that
Yeah,
tennis player that buys all the best rackets and all that shit and then gets smoked by the guy that comes out with a wooden racket because he fucking plays tennis.
I got the kit that D-Rock recommended on the site.
D-Rock's over here nodding.
Alex, let me tell you why I'm positive you're not going to be successful. You care way too much about D-Rock and Babin. I'm kidding, Alex. I'm kidding.
Hey, but I also like this is your.
I'm just trying to like,
Hey, Alex.
figure out.
Alex, 1 second. Sorry to interrupt you, bud. So I want to talk to you about something real quick, and it's something I talk a lot about in the book because what you're going through, what you're thinking, what your mindset right now about I got to get this and that and all that stuff, that is a procrastination. That is avoidance, and you're avoiding out of fear because if you actually start, you're going to see that your first podcast sucks, and then you're going to see that your second one sucks, and so all this.
D-Rock's little fucking kit is not going to change that.
That's just the kit that got me started under.
Fuck D-Rock's kit.
If you say kit one more time. If you say kit one more time.
Your phone's your kit. Fuck D-Rock.
Yeah. Hey, Alex, let me just get one crystal clear idea across to you, and then everyone can yell at you on the phone again. And that idea is, and I talk about it a lot in the book, that we are obsessed with intellect. We're obsessed with thinking things through. We have journals to write stuff down. We have kits to buy. We have shopping lists to fulfill. And you know what? None of it equals creating. None of it.
None of it.
And so you need action, my friend. Action over intellect. Okay?
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to push, and that's what I'm
Alex, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
On some real shit. How do you deal with feedback? Is there some nerves that it won't get enough? Just be real as fuck. If you want to win, I need you at your rawest form. Do you feel like
I do love feedback. I think failure is the best way. I feel like people are afraid to tell me where I suck, or they just kind of try to hesitate to tell me that I'm not. I'm doing okay, but I'm not sucking. It's like I need to hear that because that's how I learn from what I'm doing wrong, and that's how I exceed to the next level.
So why aren't you making more just on your phone? What would be your thought?
With my phone, I just feel like I wouldn't be able to put out quality content.
Stop.
And I think
Stop.
quality is
Stop.
just
Stop.
subjective.
But if it's subjective, what you're doing is you're limiting yourself on overvaluing production value and not leaning into the story.
I'm gonna give you feed you your own medicine. You know that talk that you just referenced me and Babin having?
Yeah.
I made it with my phone.
Yeah. And I got a better one. I made Babin.
Learn to accept you.
That's 100% true.
It's a good lens for you to look at it. I'm not trying to razz you, man. I think you're what I love that you're saying is that you are in the particular Liza Universal. You are a story that so many people tell themselves. And that's why you've been incredibly helpful on the show to be vulnerable and say, hey, here's what I believe. I need all this. I need X. I need Y. You need action over intellect, man. You just need to get started. And this is the number one thing that keeps people from tapping into their true self, their true creativity, is that they're worried. They're all this other stuff. You just need to start doing it. And you know what? When you start doing it,
I'll be back in a sec. I'm just gonna restart my PC.